Yeah, we'll call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock. I'll ask the clerk if anyone is participating electronically.
Yes, we have both of our presenters on tonight and 2 members of the public.
Okay. And next is the adoption of the agenda. Everyone had a chance to see it. I need a mover and a seconder. So the motion is moved by Councillor Thibert, seconded by Councillor Ross. Please resolve that this meeting agenda dated Monday, August 10, 2026 be adopted. Questions, comments? None, I'll call for a vote. All in favor? Carried.
We do have another member of the public that signed in.
Good. Anybody have a conflict of interest to declare? None at this time. Brings us right to presentations and delegation. This evening we have David Butler, financial consultant, and Keith Harriman, planning consultants, and they have a presentation for Rosemount Valley Suite and a governance plan. Gentlemen, welcome, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Can everybody hear me okay? Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I wasn't too sure. Well, thank you very much for allowing us to present virtually. I appreciate that. Dave's on as well. We're here to present our strategic plan for Rosemount Valley Suites. As you recall, earlier this year, there was a resolution that was approved by council that basically authorized Dave and I to develop a detailed transition plan for Rosemount Valley Suites, outline the steps, responsibilities, the timeline required to support the transfer and long-term sustainability of the project. So, several months later, Dave and I met with all the stakeholders and to undertake to develop this strategic plan, and it's possible. So in our report, and I'm not going to go over the whole report with you, we had some goals that we wanted to share and some objectives that were important, is that we wanted to establish the presence of an independent nonprofit organization for Rosemount Valley Suites. We also wanted a way to figure out a way to sell and transfer the Rosemount Valley Suites facility to the NPO, thereby getting it off the town books and removing the associated mortgage and all the debt from the municipal books. So that would eliminate the responsibility to the town to manage the day-to-day operations and take the financial debt off of that of the municipality. So we wanted to initiate a sustainable financial operating plan for Rosemount Valley Suites. So to do that, we had to meet with all the stakeholders, including the banks and the property manager, to get all of the current information, which we have completed, and Dave has. And we put together this proposed transition plan. It basically is a complete financial review.
Hold on.
Councillor Mick joined online.
Okay, sorry about that.
Good to go?
Yeah, so Councillor Mick, we have Dave Butler and Keith Harriman giving a presentation virtually for Rosemount Valley Suites, not-for-profit group.
Wonderful, thank you, and welcome, Dave and Keith. Nice to see you again.
Thanks, Lauren. So carry on. Our proposed transition plan is this. First, we do a financial review, analyzing all of the necessary costs, determined to update the costs, obligations, legal requirements associated with transferring the ownership to the facility. The next, of course, is establish a not-for-profit corporation. And that involves getting board members, soliciting input from the community, getting council representation with a proper governance framework, in updating the articles of incorporation and corporate bylaws that are governed under the Nonprofit Act, and a set of government policies, including board procedures and conflict of interest policies. There's a number of policies, there's about 12 of them actually, that all have to be made current in line with the Nonprofit Act. So, and assist the board in establishing a sound financial management practices, including accounting procedures and practices, budget processes, financial reporting requirements, banking arrangements, and internal financial controls. Then the next step is the transition of operations. We want to work with the existing property management, that's DESCON management, to ensure that it's a seamless transition from the municipality to the not-for-profit. And we've met with the DESCON, and they're in agreement to working with us to make sure this happens. So the big thing, of course, is the municipal oversight agreement. And that's where we provide the risk mitigation, that there is no cost to the municipality. Dave and I have undertaken to do all this work. All the costs associated with this thing are capitalized into the mortgage, and it is no cost to the municipality. So in exchange for a limited mortgage guarantee by the municipality, which they already provide, this oversight agreement between the municipality and the NPO for the purposes of establishing operating policies and procedures, and limits the authority and formal reporting relating to the activity of the senior facility. So that's how the municipality still controls what goes on at the Rosemont Valley Suites, but the good thing is that the debt comes off their books. So what are the benefits to the town of Mattawa? Reduced municipal financial liability, freeing up borrowing for other projects, independent governance through a community-based board of directors, long-term operational viability and sustainability, improved eligibility for future housing projects, enhanced organizational accountability, protection of an important community housing asset. Now, that's a really important thing, because the goal of creating Rosemont Valley Suites several years ago was to provide housing for your seniors in the community. We want to protect that integrity at all costs. That's very important for the community. So obviously, we're asking for council support to go to the next step. Are there any questions before we go to the next level? Can you hear me?
No, we'll save the questions for after.
Okay, sure. So what we're asking for council consideration is, after Dave and I have spent quite a bit of time talking to the stakeholders and meeting with the various people, the next step, of course, is to do it. And so we're asking for a letter of intent from council giving us authority to proceed with that, and a fee-for-service invoice, so that if we do it, we know we're going to get paid. I think that's fair. So you'll see from our professional fees and associated costs, we have to pay lawyers, we have to pay the banking fees, and of course, Dave and I need to get reimbursed for our services. So recommendation and next steps. Council receives a report and information, authorizes us to proceed with the implementation of the transition plan. It's pretty straightforward. Council directs municipal staff to receive, review, and finalize a formal letter of engagement in the fee-for-service contract, as mentioned. So the council and the staff recognize that the time of the essence, especially with respect to the items below. With cash flow, Dave has to complete a current pro forma to demonstrate that it is sustainable, and we've done that. And the review of the municipal annual payment ARL. So I think at this stage, we're ready to discuss what the options are and if there are any questions from council. And we're just looking for support from council. The whole intent of this thing is to protect the integrity of Rosemount. At the same time, is get the debt off the municipal books. It's a lot of money to be sitting on your books. Transfer to the MPO so that you can proceed with other projects as required. So that's basically our presentation. And I'm open for questions now.
Okay, any questions? Anybody around the table have any questions? Councillor Mick, do you have any questions?
No questions from here, but I'm happy to move the motions put forward in the report. It's nice to see things sort of picking up where we left them off from the committee level, and it makes sense to me.
Councillor Levin?
After we move the motion to accept your report and move on to the next phase, do you have an idea of how long it will take before the process gets in place?
So Dave and I who have anticipated that could be a question. We expect that we could have this done within a month or two at the latest before the year end, completed, transferred into the MPO and off your books.
Okay, so now we'll fall into the next council then, okay. Thank you.
That's all your questions. Councillor Ross?
No.
No? Councillor Gardner?
I have a few here. So I kind of have some questions around, the town would be the one guaranteeing the loan. So if the building is currently operating at a loss of approximately 70,000 per year, how would the not-for-profit plan to increase the income without having the town to sign over that loss every year? Until you guys can get to a positive cash flow. Like obviously it's losing money now. I get that you can increase rents and things like that, but that takes time. So how do you make the mortgage payments from now until that time?
Dave, do you want to?
Yeah, so thank you, councillors and mayor. I've had some significant discussions with the banking entity, which is the Case Alliance for this project. I've also had many discussions with the Descon Group, who you have as managing the property. And I've looked at the historical numbers, and one of the main issues is that the rental rates have never really been increased to any significant level for the last, 3.5 years to be able to support the future expenses. And I'm not sure why that is, and I don't see that there's any real financial plan in place to kind of balance the books. So in discussions with the bank, they're willing to do some changes for us. And just for example, they're willing to change the amortization from the current 35 years to 50 years. So that doing that drops the payment significantly down. We've talked about what kind of increases that we could establish on a regular basis over the next, say, 7 years. And we'll need to increase rents every year by about 5%. And when the people move out, they'll go to market rents, because the people don't know the difference when they move into this. It's not there to be an affordable housing complex. It's there to provide seniors with attainable housing and nobody can operate it at a loss. So rents will have to come up. We'll have to reduce expenses. We've talked to some of the suppliers of this facility, and they're willing to reduce their fees as well. And the bank is willing to look at sculpting payments. I know that sounds like an odd word, but some banks will look at the established cash flow plan and then come up with a payment plan that matches that. So you're never going into the hole. And as the project starts to gather some additional revenue through the rental rate program increases, then they will start imposing some of the payments that were missed. Or we can change the interest only period again and extend it out for a couple more years, taking advantage of that opportunity. So there's many, many, many things to do if everybody's cooperating. I know that there's going to be a little bit of pushback from the community and probably the new board that we're going to establish in regard to how much we charge there, because the original people were probably sold a bill of goods that, you know, this is an affordable place and rents are 800 and 900 and you could live there making on old age pension, but that's not realistic anymore. And so you're gonna have to charge more and pay less. It's the only way that you're gonna make it work. The other thing that the nonprofit's going to be looking for is additional funding from different sources. And I know a hard pill to swallow is going to be the municipality staying on as a guarantor of the mortgage. Honestly, the bank's never going to let you off the hook, no matter what. That's what banks do. But they will reduce your exposure based on paying down the debt and things like creative things like that. So the next step when we come back to you with this plan, because we're going to come back to you with a full financial plan that works, or else it's not going to be a project, right? So in speaking with everybody, and I spent a lot of time on it working with your bank and getting approvals at senior levels to rework the financial component, and they're pretty optimistic and they're pretty on side. And I spoke to Descon and they're completely on side as well. So the trick for you guys is going to be in, like Keith mentioned, in the oversight agreement that protects, gives you some further protection in terms of being able to protect that guarantee that you have in place, like some sort of oversight, and that having representation on the board, as well as being able to take over the board in the event of defaults that you've set out. So I don't want to get too deep into it now, and I kind of hope that Councillor, answers your question to some degree. Those are kind of the solutions that are floating around, financial solutions, and they could go in many different directions. But according to my sources and the things we've done before, it is possible to make this thing work for a nonprofit.
Okay, so just out of that, from what I'm hearing, this would kind of end the affordable housing project that once was, and it would become a market rent building as tenants leave and new tenants move in. Is that what I'm understanding?
I wouldn't go that far, Councillor. I would just say that we have to look at when all the leases expire and come up with maybe not market rent. Maybe there's a level that we can use that will be still attainable or still semi-affordable. I don't think we want to shock the community and put people and displace people, but when a new unit becomes available, it's a new person. The apartment is refreshed, painted, and renovated, and they move in, and if they know they're, instead of the last guy had it at 800. Well, if somebody has it at 1,000, it's not going to make any much difference if they agree and can pay $1,000, right? So it's an isolated case. That's just one of the solutions, but this will be a by committee. This will be discussed with the board. This won't be my total decision. I'm going to come up with some suggestions, but the board ultimately will approve the new rate, the new rental rate program. It's not just me, so there'll be a lot of input on that. And
remember, you still have a lot of tenants in there that are paying below market rent and will be paying below market rent for some time if we can only increase the rents a minimal amount.
Yeah,
so
we're
still as affordable to the community.
Yeah, like there's 2 units becoming available, or was becoming available, and I'm not sure whether they got market rents or they just continued on with the same amount. I don't know what they were told to do or to say from the town, but you know, as those become available, that's a dramatic effect on the bottom line. But minimum 5% for the next 3 years, those rents are going to have to go up to be able to catch up in the next 5 years for the place to be breaking even or revenue neutral. Because nobody can operate it at $70,000 a year loss or even $10,000 a year loss. And there's no cash reserve being built with that. This thing has to have a cash reserve. There's always going to be issues or problems in the future, right? And you need to take them head on with that reserve. So right now, I don't think there was a reserve, but you finished off with the interest only period and mortgage kicked in, and that's what made the higher payments. But it can't be interest only forever. No bank is going to do that, right? So
Would this not-for-profit, once everything is complete, would they pay taxes to the town, or is this a project that would be like requesting a waiver from taxes or a phased-in approach to taxes, or how would that work?
So that's another discussion. We're not purporting anything on behalf of the town. I don't think there was a facilities bylaw Keith put in place originally for this because we never got to the nonprofit. But you know what? It's a very good point because sometimes taxes make or break these things. I know that there'll have to be a grace period for taxes at the very least, and then if you have a CIP in place, maybe there's some provision for graduating the taxes in. But if it's going to be a business within the community, I mean, the town has to get some benefit out of it eventually. So taxes are going to be a contentious issue, but they have to be discussed. And again, it's part of the board negotiating with the town. You can go many different ways. I don't know what the sentiment is in Mattawa, but
And
I
all the
think
projects we've worked on, there always is a graduated tax implementation. Like it could be over 3 years or it could be 5 years where you build up to full taxes after about 5 years.
Okay. Would the acquisition of the building be as is? I know that there's been some debate on the roof and whether it was fixed properly or not. So would the sale be as is, or would there be conditions on anything?
I've spoken to the bank counselor about that exact issue. And yeah, it's going to have to be as is. We don't expect the town to go out of pocket for any money on this project. If we check with Descon and we find that I think the roof was repaired. I think the town used the money from the reserve account and paid and fixed the roof, and I'm not exactly sure, so I shouldn't really even say that, but that was my understanding. And so I think it's an as-is transfer or sale, and we have to be careful. I'm going to check with the tax lawyers on how we transfer that, whether it's for the amount of financing a sale or it's for $1. We have to watch out for the tax issue. So that has to be discussed, but essentially for $1 and you're going to be relieved of all your responsibilities. One thing we hadn't talked about, which was there's probably some trailing liability, which is the debt for the Algonquin. There's probably some money left over there to pay. I'm not sure that can be discussed as well. I'm sure it's been paid down quite a bit by now. But we don't want the town to have any financial responsibility, and it shouldn't be, other than just helping them leverage their goodwill for the mortgage. Other than that, shouldn't be paying anything. This should stand on its own. And honestly, one of the rules with the ARL being treated as a contingent liability is the fact that nobody contemplates subsidies from the municipality. So if the intent is to, and I've done a lot of research on this, like if the intent is that the municipality's understanding is once they sell it and it's a standalone entity, then the ARL doesn't get affected and it goes to contingent liability. But if there's a chance or somebody thinks that they're going to have to pay a subsidy to the nonprofit to keep it alive, you don't get relief on the ARL. So we really have to be careful with the way that that's portrayed. We don't want the town to have to or even think about paying any money for anything in the future. That's why we got to build cash reserves.
Okay, so then, you answered one of these questions for me already. So the timeline for the town being a guarantor, like you talked about potentially extending on to a 50-year loan term. But obviously at some point that debt gets repaid and then there's equity in the building. I know that nobody has a magic crystal ball to look into, but what would you foresee like the town being the guarantor for the entire 50 years? Do you think we get to a point where there's enough equity in the building that the bank is comfortable with that and letting the not-for-profit hold the mortgage on their own because of the
Yes, this is one thing, Council, and I hate to cut you off, is that it's a super important question you have there. Because a lot of times in the oversight agreement, it's written right in there that after a period of, so say 5 years, for example, that you revisit the mortgage again and refi the project to be able to withdraw some of your limited guarantees. And it should gradually go down based on the exposure. You shouldn't be guaranteeing, 5 million and there's only 100,000 left on the mortgage. I mean, it doesn't make any sense, right? So we're going to have that as a discussion point in the oversight agreement that, the town's liability gets reduced based on the balance outstanding, evaluated each year or every 5 years or whatever, or that the NPO undertakes to review that process. We're going to have some language in there that triggers that discussion because otherwise everybody will forget about it, right?
Right. And my last one, just the makeup of the board. If the town is guaranteeing the loan, would we be able to consider that either we have a few council members on that board, preferably a majority, or at the very least that members of that board are appointed by this or any council until such a time as the town isn't the guarantor anymore? At least then the town would have to say in who is operating the building. Understanding that it would be a separate board, an arm's length board.
I'll let Keith answer that. He's more in tune with the NPO
So
stuff.
it also is a very good question. Absolutely. We want, because you are providing the guarantee, you want to have control over it. Therefore, you should have representation from council with a reporting mechanism, and that's all spelled out in the oversight agreement. Council, and it can change from election to election as to who sits in there, but the board composition will be made up of representation with the majority holding with power from the council and community members at large. You have to be able to protect your asset, and that's the guarantee. And you're right, after 15 years, if the town is no longer providing a guarantee or is the limited guarantee is such that you don't want anything to do with it, then you just have one person on council or on the board or nobody. But for the time being, you definitely want to have a couple, and you want to pick people in the community and on council that have a vested interest and want to make sure this works for the community.
Yeah, and from my experience, generally that nonprofit boards are generally have low capacity to be able to manage these projects. Thus, that's why we have the property management company DESCON, right? They don't have the time, they don't have the knowledge, and so on. And they don't have the people that are willing from the community to do it. In this particular case in Mattawa, it's kind of an anomaly because you guys have a lot of people that were running, set up this project as a community, kind of like a committee of council board that were amazing. And some of the people are actually in the room. And so that would be exciting if those people could, donate some of their time to be on this board as well until such time as that we put some new people on. But you really do need to have your oversight during the critical periods of this project before it becomes financially stable, because there's a lot of decisions that have to be made and they have to be made responsibly. So.
Any other questions from the table?
I had some questions, but they're all answered.
Okay, so no questions there. Councillor Bigelow, any questions?
I still have one about the guarantor, so is there a way to almost like have a contract so that we would be the guarantors for like, for say 5 years? That is when we would be paying tax, and then obviously in those 5 years, the big factor would be happening, but the NPO finds another guarantor to then carry on from there. I'm using 5 years as a term.
Well, in an ideal world, Counselor, it would be great if it could stand alone by itself and have enough credibility and enough reserve fund and the asset be reappraised and the bank look at it as a responsible entity and you wouldn't need to be involved whatsoever. In an ideal world, that's what you're shooting for. I believe that the town is simply just a crutch at this point to hobble the project along until that community asset runs on its own and it's responsible and it's financially responsible as well. So I don't see the town staying there forever and ever. And I never see that in any community. I never want to have that because it's just not the way to do it. So if you're looking after your constituents, you're right, have this guarantee expire at some point or modify at some point to be able to really meet the needs of what the nonprofit needs at the time. And hopefully that debt will be paid down and refinanced. Because honestly, and I'm not sure why the project wasn't being sold and there weren't more takers, because if you look at the asset itself, there was inherent asset value when you spent $5 million on it. Like you had a couple of $1 million just because of the structure. So if that place was appraised properly and the rents were normal, you would probably come in with an $8 million appraisal value. And this is just guessing. This is just gut feel based on my experiences. So you got a lot of value there. Not just the $5 million that's outstanding. There's probably worth $8 million if you got right down to putting a business case together. But in the state it's in regarding the rental rate programs and the possible negative income each year, it drags that down because appraisers look at, income approach, cost approach, comparative studies. There's a lot of things that drive those prices that you need to have when you're refinancing or you're reevaluating the program. So we need to get it in good shape. When I say we, I mean the nonprofit's got to get it in good shape. And, we're not going to do this and run away. Keith and I are on projects that finished 2 years ago, honestly, and doing helping them reorganize some of the financial affairs of them because they always need to be adjusted. So we're gonna hang in a little bit with the NPO board as they start to mature to help them work that cash flow problems out. So it's just one of those things. It just needs some tender, loving care, this place, right? It's a beautiful, beautiful facility and the people are so nice and it seems to be running well. And we just need to get it off the town's books and get a financial plan going to make it stable. And so we don't plan on the town being hooked into this place forever. They got other fish to fry. They got the hill up there to finish that development. You've got other projects to do like the arena and so on. You need to free up your capital to do those kinds of projects. You put enough effort into this one already, honestly. So that's all I really have to say. Sorry for being so frank, but that's kind of what we are, as transparent.
Councillor Levite has another question.
I got a couple, actually. Is there levies that you can set in there, like, they say it's gonna be low geared income for seniors. But some people sell their homes and they move in there and they have lots of cash in the bank. Is, pardon me? So I was just wondering, that board that's gonna manage this thing, they gonna have any power or jurisdiction of maybe imposing levies? Looking at what the geared income is for these people. I know some seniors are in there now are having a hard time and trying to meet their ends, meet their living costs and everything else, but there's some people that are in there that got a lot of money that when they sold their house, so they move into a situation where they pay low rent, everything is covered, so I'm just wondering about the board. Would they have that power, or can they be put into a plan as you fix up the financial situation for the town to sell it? Because we had discussed it before that we'd like to put 90 more units on there that could make it worthwhile for an investor to come in and buy the place. Then I know that it would change from a low geared income senior place to more or less price of today's rental in Toronto or North Bay or Sudbury. I'm just
So
wondering.
maybe I could jump in and answer that is that in every project we work on, what we try to do is establish the rents that the community at large can afford without, and that's even before we rented the units out. The board, with a mixture of council and community members at large, would have the ability to, through the oversight agreement, to adjust the rents accordingly. Now, the challenge you have is, as you've mentioned, is that if you have one tenant, simply because you know they sold their house for $500,000 and that money's sitting in the bank, the challenge you have is charging more rent for one unit that's identical to the unit beside it, because the tenants in there don't have all the money. So that's a really difficult thing for you to propose to do, rather than, if it's financially sustainable and you are charging less than the market rents and you see a plan where you gain equity, the town gets off the books and everything else, that seems to be something that is more realistic for the community. I mean, every project we do in every town, there are people who definitely have their equity in their house, but they dip into that equity that they sell their house for, plus their CPP OAS, so that they can afford to live in these places. Because you don't know what people's financial situations are like. If they can afford it, if they can afford the rent that you're proposing, then it pays for the mortgage payment, then your plan works.
Yeah, Descon has quite a comprehensive screening process. I know because they're working on several other projects with us right now that have just been completed and they're filling them up. So I know what the criteria is, and I know that it's pretty comprehensive and it doesn't put risk onto the municipality or the nonprofit. But honestly, the new NPO will have all the power to set any rate that they want and any policy regarding the rates, because of the time this building was made, the rules are completely changed. They're not governed by anything. They can, when someone moves out, they can jack the rate by 3 times if they want. I mean, obviously you have to be sensitive to the occupancy. When you start jacking rates and people start leaving and the place is empty, you can't do that. So there has to be a well thought out approach to this rental rate thing, and that's going to be the main things that the new board is going to have to live with. I'm going to come up with numbers and present them to you before we go to the next stage. That it's going to be a plan in conjunction with the bank on how we're going to get to revenue neutral and revenue positive, and what time that'll be, and what those payments mean, and all that kind of stuff. I have a long road to do on that thing, and it'll be presented to first, I guess, council and you guys when we come back. to people to see or make suggestions. And I'm not sure, Keith, whether that's going to go right to the board, that kind of program, or whether it's going to go to council. But this is going to be the challenge. But the board has the right to do whatever they want. They have to look after the project. There's no way it's sustainable losing money and doesn't have a cash reserve. It's worthless. When you charge affordable rates, if they're not subsidized somehow, then they don't work. And people are used to paying over $1,000 a month now. I mean, we don't build them now until the rates are under 1,500 like a month per suite, and 2 bedrooms like 15, 16, 1,700, and they're jam-packed full, waiting lists in all of the smaller communities. So how we got to $800 a month, I'm not quite sure. I think it was a chance to let the seniors who couldn't pay much to actually get into a place. But like Councillor mentioned, there are seniors in there that are sold houses and have nest eggs of money that can probably pay. Where else are they going to go, right? So this is
Does that
just
answer your question?
I don't know, but the board has the power to,
Yeah.
by law, to charge whatever they
Yeah.
want on the anniversary date of the increase, like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10% if they want. And when a person moves out, they can charge whatever they want. I looked at some of those units over there, and like, my God, they're the one when you walk in the front door just to the right, that 2 bedroom that's in there, that is huge. That's bigger than some houses. Like, it's just beautiful place. Like, that should be over $2,000 a month, that place in rent. And I think it's like under 1,000. Like, I don't really know, but that all has to stop. I mean, I'm looking out for the interest of the town and the nonprofit, and I may be offending people in this room, but I'm a realist. You got to charge more, cut your costs. So
Okay, we have another question here, Councillor Tiger.
If this council decides, on say a formula, say a 1 bedroom is 1,000, a 2 bedroom is 1,500 or whatever. We could, if somebody moves out right now, this council has the authority to raise the rents to a level. Say they're paying 900 now, we could raise it to 1,100, say, until the board gets operational. Is that
That's
right?
right.
absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Right now, council's the boss.
Okay,
Okay. That's it, Councillor Tiger.
yes, thank you.
Staff, any questions or comments?
I have a couple of questions, if I may. Around finances and the operations, and the question's been asked. It's just not clear to me what the answer really is. And so you flag in the report that it's bleeding, about $70,000 a year. The number is actually about 76,000, but close enough. So 76,000. And on top of that, there's fees that are identified, upwards to 150,000 in fees. Between consulting, legal, banking. And which is roughly a couple of years worth of losses, if you think of it in those terms. At the last meeting, you indicated that the fees could be incorporated in the refinancing of the project. So that the town, who's already paying $76,000 a year, wouldn't be paying another $150,000 a year for 1 year over top of that 76. But then, it's at a bigger principal payment to repay, of which you can say, well, there, you can negotiate interest only, but at interest only, you're just breaking even or maybe, maybe having a bit of a loss. So, I'm just not seeing how a nonprofit makes any difference as to who makes the money or doesn't pay the money. Who's covering the losses? Right now, the town of Mattawa is. And just having a nonprofit doesn't change the loss. It's still there. So it's not clear to me what happens with that. The second issue is, in the agreement. Yeah, title passes over to a nonprofit. And the town maintains its guarantee status as guarantor. So all the risk, right, rests with the town. And for whatever reason, the nonprofit sells the building in a future transaction. And makes money because the government introduced a new policy, whatever, makes the project all of a sudden financially desirable and makes a ton of money. The agreement, I would like to see the town as, should have a stake in that, because we're now responsible for the losses. Well, if we're gonna be responsible for the losses, we should also be sharing in the gain if there were any. So that's a thought for you. And then lastly, at the last meeting, talked about who some of the players might be that would be involved in that nonprofit. And you indicated that you would come back at this meeting and you would share that, but I haven't heard that. So those are the things that the council might want to hear that would help them make their decision going forward.
So let me take a stab at that. I'm not too sure which staff member was talking about that, but good questions. As mentioned earlier, as Dave mentioned, is that by renegotiating the terms of the mortgage with either the case or with another institution, if you refinance the project to include all of those costs you're talking about, the legal fees, the banking fees, and our fees rolled into this thing, stretch it over a long period of time, it reduces the monthly payment. Therefore, and reduces the monthly expenses. So that $76,000 a year disappears. So that's the whole idea. And then increase the rents, as we mentioned earlier, is that if there are some empty ones in there now, bring those up to market rent or close to market rent. So the sooner you get the rents up to something that is more sustainable, the sooner it is easier to gain equity. So that's the plan, is that without doing anything, you're going to continue losing $76,000 a year. So, and you're absolutely right, is that part of the oversight agreement has to be the language in it that says if the town has a stake in the project and they're willing to use their goodwill to support the project, when there is equity gained in the project, and if it's 10 years or 5 years or 10 years, they can negotiate a transfer of the equity back to the town, if it's for taxes or whatever. You're absolutely right. They do in a lot of the other centers. So, and the third question is that I don't think we promised that we would come back with names of the potential board members. We would come back with a strategy that we would have to undertake to solicit input from the community and ask you council members who would like to sit on the board. That becomes the composition of the board.
Yeah, I think Keith, that question was directed because in our previous meetings a year and a half ago, we had tried to bring people to the town that would work with a nonprofit, but essentially were private individuals, and that didn't work out. Mm-hmm. And that is something we're not entertaining in this case. This nonprofit board will be truly a nonprofit, nobody owning this. It's members from the community only. It's not going to be any type of ownership whatsoever. And I also would add to Keith that if in the oversight agreement that first of all, the nonprofit can't sell this property without the express written permission of the town. That's going to be, your lawyer's going to expect that when your lawyer reviews this, because the NPO will have their own lawyer to establish their case, and you got a lawyer that's tough as nails there who will probably make sure you get your what you need in it. And I agree, you should have all those rights, that nobody can sell it. And in the event that it is sold, here's what you expect to get out of that for your contribution. And so that's pretty good question. And I think that I agree with all of that. I agree with those things. So you'll be looking for that in the next round of documents. And please, by all means, whoever the staff member is, just bring those comments to the table because I think they're all worthwhile.
Anything else from staff? Okay, I'll try and wrap it up. I had a bunch of points. A lot of them were touched up. First of all, I want to thank you for the presentation. You obviously have a lot of expertise and experience in the domain. Just a few things that maybe I didn't get it right, but that were mentioned, you know, that we need to raise the rents, and that we haven't done so far. As far as I'm aware, we have did 2 rounds of increases, one at 3%, one at 5%. So there has been some increases because we truly understand that it's way too far under market, and we can't make ends meet. And unless you have a money tree, no one can make ends meet.
Right. Exactly.
The name senior affordable housing may have to be tweaked to senior housing. Cause I think that's the direction that a not-for-profit even is gonna go. I'm not saying at full market, but at least at maybe a reduced, but something that is gonna make the building sustainable. The timeline, someone asked a question, you said 2 months. And that's where I have an issue. 2 months brings us into a brand new term of council. And I seriously question the fact that we are here tonight to move this ahead on the future council. Okay, so I think some of the stuff through the question that Councillor Tiber asked, you know, the town does have the option that when someone leaves a unit to increase it. So, you know, we could do that for the next 2 months if someone leaves and make sure that those rents get increased. I totally agree that us, because we've carried this far, should put another increase anytime. So I think the anniversary is January 1st. So we could see maybe another 5% increase. The municipal oversight / control, you know, I'm a little concerned about it in the fact that, you know, we still all want to make sure that the original idea of this building, seniors building, is carried on. And that was the idea. Again, I'm saying maybe it's time to strike off the word affordable. Who ends up holding the bag? I have a concern there. No matter what happens, you know, it's the town that's gonna pay. If someone defaults in some wild idea, we don't know what's down the future. We're still on the hook. And I agree with your statement that there's no lending institution out there that's gonna let us off. I understand that. The other thing that was mentioned that there was a bit of reserve and we kind of chewed it up using it for our deficit. But then I think, David, you picked up on it, you corrected it. It was used for the roof. Plus the town had to contribute a little extra. My problem with the roof, and no one came back to council to tell me differently, but out on the street, I hear that the roof still leaks, and we got this fixed by professionals. So we need to know if that roof is still leaking. So that's another thing. I'll repeat it again. We're less than 11 days from nominations closing. And I think if things don't change, we could be a lame duck on August 21st, which means we can't make those decisions. There are no meetings. We have 2 meetings in September. So if we're lame duck, we can't touch that. And then the election is in October, and by the amount of people running this time around, if we survive the first lame duck period, we might be in lame duck after the election. So I'd like to be very careful how we move forward. I don't think it's something that we wanna rush. I like a lot of the ideas I heard. I think, you know, there's potential there. But I would like our staff with your group to maybe have a look at your proposal, so staff is ready when we have a new term of council with your group to update and move it along. So that's where I stand, and if you wanna touch up on it, please do so.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for correcting me on some of those points because I was generalizing and I was using a lot of hearsay, and I apologize for that. But thank you for correcting me, and you have all great points about taking that affordable name off the project and truly making it a seniors facility. But I think you're right. I mean, you have 11 days. We could get to a lawyer and transfer it over and have that done in 11 days, but that's not going to solve the problem because there's a lot of issues to work out. And the big one's going to be that rent analysis and report and where do you go financially and that oversight agreement. And just to kind of make sure you tie down a lot of these loose ends, and there are a lot of them. We will undertake, I'm sure Keith, I'm speaking for Keith too, to work with staff during the lame duck period while there's some pressure off to kind of work through what that deal might look like and be ready for the council when they become into power again and be able to vote on the project. I'm like, we're not here to hold your feet to the fire or do anything. We love you guys. We spent a lot of years in your town with a lot of the councilors you see there today and committee members, and even got familiar with the people that live there. So we like your place, and we're doing it because we love it, not because we want to get down into Meadow and try to make a bit of money. This is something that we don't want to see it fail. Any project we worked on, we've always stood by it and tried to go back and help out. And this is just another typical example of that. So our intentions is to work with you. So let's do that. Keith, I don't know what your feeling is.
No, I would agree. I mean, we certainly don't want to pressure council into making a decision, and we certainly don't want to encumber the potentially new council with something. We're presenting an idea that will help this council and or the new council start the new year with a clean book, hopefully. And so, as Dave mentioned, we're willing to sit with staff and to go to the next level and have a plan ready. And if this council wants to wait for the new council to vote on it, then that's your call.
Thank you for understanding. Councilor Quebec?
I just want to ask, do you need a motion to move ahead with that, or do you just need a direction from this table?
I think that we've agreed to them to contact staff, start working on
We
it.
haven't agreed yet because we haven't heard from
Yeah.
everybody.
Okay. From the group that just spoke, they're okay to hold off, to try not to push everything in. I think we have to respect the fact that we're in an election
I agree with
and
that.
we're at the end of our term.
I'm
We're
agreeing
at
with
the,
you.
and we're at the 11th hour. And well, I just want to make sure that you.
I'm
understand where
agreeing
I'm
with
coming from.
everything you're saying, but all I'm saying is, do they need a motion or is direction good enough? Like, is it, there's a motion to say that they can sit down with the staff and come up with a plan that's gonna be presented to the new council? Or do you need just direction?
Personally, I think you only need direction because
that's
by doing
That's-
the resolution, we're committing a future council. And I feel strongly about that. I apologize for it, but that's how I feel about it. Any other comments? Councilor Gardner?
I'm not gonna die on it either way, but I would think that we always say that council talks in motions and if we're directing somebody to do something, I think that this council should be saying it on paper. Maybe not along the lines of commitment beyond that, but in preparing a presentation with more information for the next council. I think that that would be fair of us to do. Not committing them to anything, but committing them to a future presentation, I think is fair, but I think that we talk through those motions, and I think it's important to do that.
I wouldn't die on that hill either.
I do. No, I totally agree.
I'd like to make the motion. Would you like me to order it?
If you want to speak to the clerk, please.
Make a motion to have our consultants sit down with staff, whichever you guys agree on, and come up with a plan to present to the future council. A plan for Rosemount Valley Suites, I guess we should put that link in there too.
You don't mind, I can second that. It's best to have it on paper and it's on record. Oh, sorry.
I wanted to ask a question before the motion comes up.
Yeah, go ahead, Councillor. Councillor Ross has a question.
So I was just wondering, a lot of nonprofits, they sometimes approach, we have what we call DSAB to get subsidies in place for some of the units, like we have one in town called Castle Arms, so many units are subsidized, so many are market rent. Have you ever had nonprofits do that kind of thing?
I'll answer that question. We did entertain a project. We've actually been involved with DSAB, but it comes with conditions. And if the DSAB want to get involved in the project, they want other than seniors involved in the project.
Oh.
So
Okay.
the challenge you have is that
Yeah.
it comes with conditions. It's nice to have money from DSAB, but if you want to protect us so there's 4 seniors, that won't happen.
Okay. Okay. That's fine, thank you.
Just, we're waiting for the,
She's a quick writer.
Record that, please.
Okay, so the motion reads, and it's moved by Councillor Tiber, seconded by Councillor Levesque. And Councillor Levesque requested a recorded vote. So council directs staff to work with consultants David Butler and Keith Harriman on a plan to create a not-for-profit and bring the plan forward to the upcoming 2026-2030 council once in place. Questions, comments?
If I may, your worship, again, looking for absolute clarity. So I heard a couple things. There's the report from our consultant that says we're gonna spend round numbers, 150,000, put a plan together, bring it to council. And then I heard council say, not ready to prepare, not ready to make a decision on that. Let council make it, next council make the decision on that. And have that budgeted, maybe next year's budget to do that, whatever. But that's kind of what I heard. And then I hear what council is going to vote on now, the motion. And if you could reread the motion, it says, go ahead and do the plan, work with staff and come back with the plan. In other words, are we telling them to spend 150,000 and come back with the plan to council? So I don't have that clarity. If you could let me know what I'm supposed to do with that.
Any comments?
I think it's just to go over the plan with them. If the plan is feasible, sustainable, then when the new council comes in, they would take the staff has input. They would take the plan, bring it forward to council and say, this is what we had thought, would you be interested in entertaining?
Yeah.
That's what I'm.
And thank you, Councillor Ross, and that's how I took it as well. But in all due respect, they did provide a document.
Mhm.
And now,
They did provide a document, but they also indicated that there's a lot more to get done.
with
And
a
that's
lot
the
more,
stuff
with a
that-
lot more money, and
Yeah.
that motion there doesn't say. You know what I mean? You're gonna open the door to spend 150,000, here's the information you need, or are you waiting for next council to say,
Your second option to me is what we're looking at.
to wait to the next council?
Absolutely.
So that,
We did say that in that motion.
can you reread the motion?
The
please?
council directs staff to work with consultants David and Keith on a plan to create a not-for-profit and bring the plan forward to the upcoming 2026-2030 council once in place.
Yeah, so work with staff, contact the lawyers, build a nonprofit, so, and if that's the direction of council, so be it, but that's what that says. Go spend some money, go let a nonprofit go.
No,
All it's saying is to bring to sit down and come up with the plan, period. You're not to spend money, you're not gonna see a lawyer, you're just gonna bring a plan back to the new council. And they'll decide whether they wanna go ahead with it, that's all I'm saying. So that it's not stale from now until the new council comes in, at least you can get the groundwork done. That's all I think that we're interested in, we're not interested in going out and getting the lawyers involved right now, that's not what I'm saying.
Clerk. Oh, I thought you had a question.
No,
Oh, okay,
sorry, I'm
okay.
writing, yeah, gonna do an amendment to the motion if that's what is required, but I need.
I think so.
for it.
I think so.
Then I need clarification for the word and for.
Okay, so everything that was in there, but to indicate that this council is not committing to expenses. Any expenses, you can work on this plan and find out all the details, move it forward. That's what I'm understanding, and once that's in place, the new term of council can make the decision to go forward with the plan and spend the money. So we're, right, I think that's what we're trying to say right now. So we're okay to look at the plan, but we're not okay to spend money on it until there's a new council in place.
So would it be fair that what you're kind of expecting is that they start to work on number one of the transition plan, which is the financial review? And stopping at the establish the not-for-profit corporation? Otherwise, I'm struggling to understand what more they're going to accomplish other than bringing back this exact presentation to the next council. And at that point, are they willing to start kind of part one without being compensated for it? And then the last point I have is that we have an amendment coming up, but again, for procedure, somebody has to move the amendment, somebody has to second the amendment, so.
So,
Councilor Levesque?
Okay, listening to the CEO, I can see his point. Spending money, because the way it's set up right now, the motion is to go ahead and proceed, but. Why don't you just make an amendment to that to say that we're supporting the program that is brought forward. But it only going to be effective in a new council at that time. We gotta wait a couple of months anyway before we get the new council in, maybe 3. So there's not much we can do. We can't change things, and like the mayor says, we can go into lame duck and we can't do nothing anyway. So why don't we just amend it to say that we'll be proceeding with this the new plan within the next council and not this council. But put it in place, that's all.
I think Mr. Butler had
Dave? Yeah. Dave, you
yeah,
have
sorry,
some?
sorry to interrupt your discussion, Mayor. First of all, we're not asking the town to pay anything. So the town's not committing to any money whatsoever, because that's being built into the nonprofits bill. Second thing is, we don't get much more detail than we've just provided you without starting to spend money and have lawyers involved and the banks involved and so on and so forth. If we gave you that detailed of a proposal, it's all done. You might as well just go do it yourself. And actually, you have enough here that your CAO, who's an accountant, could probably do all this himself. I mean, why even have us if if you've got the talent in-house? We're only coming to you to try to help out, right? And we have to get paid something to help out. So we're taking it off your back and coming from the NPO. So there's no financial commitment whatsoever. And honestly, there isn't much more detail we're going to give anybody until we start having a commitment to. All you're doing is selling the property to an NPO and taking the financing off your back. That's all you're committing to, nothing else.
So David, what if the amendment would be that, the way I want to put it, thank you for the presentation, but we will move this project to the next term of council. Leave it
It's
like
your
that.
choice. Your choice.
Like that.
I'm sorry, what am I writing?
That we accept the presentation from the group this evening. And we're gonna move this whole plan to the next term of council.
Yeah, and
I'll
you
move
can
that.
and you can reach out to us when you're ready.
Exactly, makes sense.
And
Yeah,
before she
because
leaves.
we're not
right,
going to
is there a
solicit.
seconder for that amendment?
Yes, I'll move it.
I moved it, you seconded it?
Okay, sorry, I didn't hear you say that.
Councillor Ross, you have another question?
I don't have a question, I just wanna say, please don't go away. Wait till the next
Well-
council comes in.
Well,
Yeah, I know.
there's no guarantees there. We have a lot of projects on the go.
Yeah, we've got 10 projects we're working on right now. And we're just squeezing this one in as a gesture because you're our friends. But quite honestly, if we keep coming to council like this, and it's a good thing we didn't drive up there because I would have probably broken the window on the way out. So it's we're not going to keep wasting my time with this council. They don't understand that it's not costing any money and we're getting you out of a bind. And quite frankly, your CAO can do the same thing if you just put him to the task. Why bother with us? So anyways, don't count on us coming back, but we're going to wait for your solicitation and ask us to come and help you because we're not going to come back and talk to you. So that's all I have to say.
If there's no cost there for what we're doing and what they're prepared to do with the staff themselves. Well, where's the problem of being concerned of we're not creating, they're just gonna continue doing and put the plan together.
They said that what they presented, it's pretty well covered. It's all there. That's what they said. So if you move forward, there's gonna be costs, so.
There's no cost of community to the council. You don't understand that. There's no cost right now.
Well,
It's taken off of our, it's taken off of our
I
books.
just heard differently that if we move forward, those costs that were identified, 17,000, 15,000, and 100,000 for legal and everything. We don't have that in the budget. So and again, we're at the end of our term. And I think the new council should have a clean slate on this and move forward.
Can I ask a question before we move
Yeah.
on? You used two gentlemen. I'd like you to repeat one more time. What is the cost factor for us to accept this program? And lawyers or anything like this is all already covered through the organization that you're dealing with, correct?
Correct.
Okay, that's all I need to know so we can proceed. There's no money's gonna be charged to us.
The intent, just so it's clear, the intent when every project we work on, the cost of setting up these nonprofits, the legal fees, everything, it all gets put into the mortgage that the nonprofit is responsible for. The town provides a guarantee. Dave provides a financial picture so that there's no risk or mitigation to the town, and all the costs, including our fees, everybody, the construction, all of that is attached to the mortgage. So our proposal to you tonight is basically saying, here's what we can do for you. And to do that, there's no cost to you, but the cost of that, our fees, the legal fees, we can throw in because we still have to talk about what's the roof cost. You know, all of that cost will be attached to the mortgage. You will not see a bill from us.
There you go. So we got to put an end to this, we had an amendment moved by, myself, seconded by Councillor Levite. Councillor Levite requested a, recorded vote.
TV.
The council amend the motion to remove all directions. Thank the presenters for the presentation and hold any further direction to new council in the 2026-2030 term. Questions and comments? We went through it 100 times. So
Okay, we're just voting on the amendment.
Yeah.
if the amendment goes through, then that's what's happening. Yeah. And you got it.
Councillor Levesque,
No.
Mayor Boulanger,
Yes.
Councillor Mick,
No.
Councillor Ross,
No.
Councillor Tiber,
No.
Councillor Bigelow, and Councillor Gardner.
No.
So this motion is lost for the recorded vote as 1 yea and 6 nays.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your presentation.
That's lost, so now we have to vote on the original, do we not?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was automatically defeated.
No.
Okay. So the original, because the amendment was lost, so the original is moved by Councillor Tiber, seconded by Councillor Levite. Councillor Levite is requesting a recorded vote. Council directs staff to work with consultants David Butler and Keith Harriman on a plan to create a not-for-profit and bring the plan forward to the upcoming 2026-2030 council once in place. Questions, comments?
Yeah, I did just want to, to be frank, I didn't appreciate the mini tantrum and the comments about, us wasting time and stuff like that. I think that this is a huge commitment for our council, and especially an outgoing council. It's a $5.5 million endeavor. We're going to add to that. It's going to be $6+ million by the time we pay you and add to it, and put some money in the bank so that they can operate. And that's a big commitment. Talking over 50 years, that adds probably $10 million in interest over a 50-year term. So this becomes a $16 million decision. And I don't appreciate at all, kind of the comments about it smash a window on the way out. And, I expect those things of my teenagers and not somebody trying to solicit the business from the town of Mattawa. It is something that the company will be paid for in a 6-figure an amount. So I think that was kind of uncalled for, and maybe my comments now are uncalled for, but it goes both ways. So I appreciated everything up until then, and that really turned me off, and it really turned my gut feeling on this really fast. So I didn't appreciate that at all.
Any other comments?
Yes.
Councillor Levite?
I just want to thank you for your presentation, and I know it was a little bit hard to understand some of the points that you were bringing forward, but that's why I asked you for the second time to give us a detail on what the cost was, and you already indicated. So the town not worry about getting charged by anybody right now till such time you have it bill paid. So I'm satisfied. Thank you very much.
Any other comment? None?
Councillor Levite,
Yes?
Councillor Hubert,
Yes.
Councillor Mick,
Yes.
Councillor Ross.
Yes.
Councillor Bigelow,
Yes.
Councillor Gardner,
No.
and Mayor Blanchett.
Nope.
The motion is carried with a recorded vote of 5 yeas and 2 nays.
So once again, thank you very much, and we'll move forward with our meeting now.
All right. Thank you very much for the patience, and we'll be in contact. All right.
Okay.
Take care.
Thank you.
Okay, number 6, adoption of the minutes. We have 2 sets of minutes, regular and special meeting. They've been circulated, so I need a mover and a seconder to accept it. So the motion was moved by Councillor Ross, seconded by Councillor Bigelow. Be it resolved that council adopt the minutes of the regular meeting of July 13th, 2026, and the special meeting of July 28th, 2026 as circulated. Questions, comments? None? Gonna call for a vote, Councillor Mick,
Yes.
and all in favor? Carried. There are no notice of motions. Correspondence, 8.1 from municipality of South Huron, heads and beds payment in lieu of taxes program. Any questions or comments? None? 8.2, Mattawa Child Care Center, response to request for waiving of fees. Questions, comments, Councillor Gardner?
Yeah, I do. So I've been saying it all along and, don't we look like a circus now? Here we have a not-for-profit, that's, been a not-for-profit longer than I've been alive. And after approving the last, probably 3 requests, council decided to deny this one. And I know that I, was one of the reasons for that, but, we're not consistent at this table. The policy can't come fast enough. And I think that if the majority of council wishes to continue providing these services for free, then so be it. But we have to be consistent with it. I don't think that it's fair that one not-for-profit gets something and another doesn't. I support helping these groups, although, I voted no to some of these requests outside of the Voyageur Days one. And I'm not looking to make money off of these groups, but at the same time, I'm looking for us to at least recoup our costs on staffing and et cetera for that stuff. I don't know if that number is 25%, 50%. But I would hope that, we kind of get some indication on that when an actual policy comes forward to council to approve. And just lastly, I welcome anybody who makes requests from organizations like this to attend the meetings that the letter of the request will be presented at. Had that member or that person, the author of that letter, been at that meeting, they might have been able to clarify some of the misconceptions immediately, and that might have changed the mind of some of the councillors. It was too bad that they decided to cancel the event because of the way that the outcome came, but I would welcome them to attend the meetings to answer any questions that we might have in the future.
Councillor Ross?
I also agree. I wish that it would have been written in this form, or that somebody would have been in attendance, that we could have questioned it, because it definitely would have made a difference for me, for sure. After seeing this, I don't know if they want to submit a new proposal, a new request, but I think either being in the audience or writing something in detail so that council is fully aware, would make a big difference. So, and I also would like to see something. I don't know if council has to write a motion to have some kind of policy in place for nonprofit. But I would like to see something soon also, so that we can be consistent.
My answer to that would be council, staff did bring a policy.
You did?
They did, and we shot it down. We shot it down and that's exactly what Councillor Gardner was talking about back then. He says, just watch, the floodgates are gonna open up, and they certainly did. So they've been told all along that, you know, let's get that policy back in with some teeth. Then, council, am I wrong in saying
I
that?
asked if that was brought to council and it was no. It was
I don't think a policy came to council.
were
Maybe-
working on
or They had an internal one.
So again, as I shared before, a practice was disclosed to council. As opposed to a policy per se, we started to introduce a practice of charging 50% to nonprofit and registered charities. See how that ensued, and then we would follow that up. It was a formal policy after having tried a trial period of that practice. But between there, requests came to council, and council decided to not follow that practice and grant no fees to those that asked. And so here we are today with those that say got it, those that didn't. And now we've been asked to actually bring back a formal policy.
Yeah.
Any other comment on this?
No.
No. 8.3. Township of Elmwick, Alderman, Beacons of Light for British Home Children and Child Migrant Tribute. Councillor Ross?
So this is actually horrible, what I read, this is absolutely awful. What was done to these children being sent from, it was almost like residential school children as far as I'm concerned, so I would like to see us be able to do some form of support. I believe their date that they're having this is in September. Coming September 28th. So I would like to see us at least make a proclamation if we are if we're capable of doing so. To just keep this alive. This is the first I've ever heard of this, and it is absolutely awful. I would like to see something to
So
support this organization.
to proclaim a certain
Yeah.
date,
Yeah,
so I'll ask staff to bring that back for the next regular meeting. Thank you. Councillor Gardner?
So is it just a proclamation, or, because I think in there they asked that we light up our monuments and things like that. My only comment to it was that I think that they have to, you know, this is the start, but I too, the first time I'd ever heard of this, so I think there needs to be more education on the topic. And if we go around lighting up our monuments red, white, and blue with where the
nobody.
world is at these days, we're gonna face some harsh criticism if they don't understand why. So just throwing that out there.
I think the proclamation is a start.
Councillor Ross is requesting a proclamation motion to be brought forward. Any other comments? 8.4, City of Mississauga, emergency shelters serving women and children experiencing intimate partner violence. Councillor Gardner.
I feel like some rendition of this has come around a few times within our council term. So I don't know if it's this one specifically that we've seen, but we've seen things very similar to this come back. And again, if we haven't already supported it, I wouldn't mind supporting it. I agree that it's an ongoing issue. But what comment that I did want to make was that as we move toward a more equal society, I've always questioned why we don't have these emergency centers for men and their families, because it does go both ways. And you know, there are a lot of single men out there that, you know, are in need of emergency shelter and stuff like that. So I wouldn't want to just limit it to that. I'd like to see everybody encompassed in it.
Councillor Ross.
It does say intimate partner violence, so I think that's the definition right there, women and children experience intimate, there are more women dying from intimate partner violence than men, as far as I'm aware, after working in Guild for 37 years. Also, it is also the funding formula that they're looking at. And to be able to access housing coming out of shelters, because right now, women and children are not, there used to be a scale where if you were coming out of an intimate partner violence relationship, you would get bumped up a little bit. That is no longer happening. Also, women now are, instead of staying for 30 days, are having to stay up to 6 months before they can find anything. So it's the formulas looking at changing, and also for the funding based on those formulas that need to be changed. So that's what they're asking for. So I would like to support this.
Everyone okay with that? We'll bring something back, please. 8.5, Township of Brudenell, Lisdock and Raglan. Provincial Bill 100, Better Regional Government Act 2026. Comments, questions? None. 8.6, Phenom, registration open for SNOED 101 fall course. Questions, comments? Councillor Gardner?
Yeah, just obviously we don't have a economic officer on Ottawa right now, so I wouldn't be opposed to somebody, I believe it's an online course, so I wouldn't be opposed to paying for a staff member to participate in that course if they would. But I believe that to them to figure out.
I know that Sino, that's we do have an application in with the feds to get a. Yeah, so, you know, and I believe I'm just going by memory what I read, minimum 5, maximum 20. So the last time this came by, it was filled instantly. But I can leave that up to staff to have a look at it. Any other questions or comments on it? No. 8.7, Phenom again, Northern Shield Energy Corridor. Oops. Questions, comments? Okay, none. 8.8, Township of Tudor and Cashel. Review of extended producer responsibility for 1 pound single-use propane cylinders. Question, comments? Councilor Gardner.
A question for the director, if possible. Right now, when these come back to our landfill, do they, because of what they are they able to go into the scrap metal, or they go into the landfill?
We're refusing them at the landfill. They're still landing out there, but we're refusing them. They go to hazardous waste.
Okay.
Okay.
And
They're not on our acceptable materials list.
okay, and then so if we pay for the hazardous, we pay a certain amount to the hazardous waste thing to have access to it, right? So if we did accept them, would we have to facilitate getting them to North Bay?
Yeah, we would just have to have a proper storage location for them because some of them come back to us half charged.
And
That's part of the problem. And then we've seen them in garbage bags and getting into the garbage truck, and
I'm just trying to think of a way that we can do better with it, and if there's a way that a business in town could be of help to it. I do know that there are thousands of these that are out in our community every year. So they're ending up in our landfill in the end because people aren't keeping them as mementos at home, right? So they're ending up there eventually, so, okay.
They had a picture of the Calvin landfill, and it was amazing how many were there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's not only a problem there.
I'll reach out and maybe we can come up with something.
Okay. Any other comments, questions? Okay, 8.9, Municipality of Wawa, Ontario Hospital call for more funding. Questions, comments? None. 8.10, Ontario Provincial Police, Mattawa Voyageur Days 2026 After Action Report. Questions, comments?
Very good report. Very good report.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's
Everything was well
positive.
done.
It's a positive report.
I'm just wondering, what did it cost us?
I don't think anything.
She said, I see nothing.
Nothing. I think it's a report that the police give out after the event to see how.
They didn't, for those 4 or 6 officers, they
Oh,
had.
for the officers. Oh,
Yeah.
that, I thought you were talking about the report.
No, I'm talking about the having officers and everything, that costs money.
Paul?
Yeah, so it's called paid duty request. And as a condition of getting our SOP or a special occasion permit, we have to have those officers on scene. The total cost is about $10,000.
So when they were saying that there's no cost within our municipal levy, we pay for this. Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, any other comments, questions? Okay, 8.11, Cheryl Barr, accessibility concerns. Questions, comments, Councillor Ross.
So I think I have actually seen these. There's one, I believe, at one beach in North Bay, and I'm not sure if there's a second one. But these are not, I think this is a very easy request to look at. I think by maybe going and connecting with community living and talking to them. Because it's a mat that will roll down and it rolls down to the beach, the wheelchair can ride on it. I would like to see us look into exactly what it costs and maybe partnering with community living to see if it's possible to do something like this for people who are in wheelchairs and who are just handicapped and have accessibility issues.
Councillor Levesque.
I don't mind that part, looking into what would cost for that, but you're in the wheelchair and you walk into the current water. What happened to that person? Gonna lose their life unless you got proper supervision when they put it out, because the town could fall under a liability.
I don't think they're looking to go into the water, I think they're looking to get down to the water.
Ah.
Yeah, they're not looking to
For
go
swimming.
in, they're looking to go to.
I spoke to staff today, my understanding is we have someone on staff that's been looking at some mats for that, so I think we can hopefully this will materialize and has been for a while.
Very good.
You've got him lined up and. Okay,
If I may, just
Please.
shed some light, like I did take a moment to read the letter and one of the requests within the letter was, has the town applied for any available funding? And we've applied for ease funding version 2026-2027. The application was for $60,000 when in May. And that application is likely due back a response by December. So I was just looking at last year's, that's when they told everybody last year for the 2025-2026. We were unsuccessful in 2025-2026, but 2026-2027, we're hopeful. And $10,000 as part of that budget is for beach accessibility events. The other line items in the budget are barrier-free washrooms at a couple public facilities, town hall and the information center. And then there's some funds there for contingency on those projects. The other part of it is the actual entranceway of the two facilities, so like in the front of town hall and the front of the information center.
Councillor Tudor.
I just had access to a scooter. And I thought I better take it because it was for free. And I've been riding on it, around town. And I noticed a lot of these things that she's talking about as far as,
On level.
cracks and everything in the sidewalks, terrible, really is. I don't know who's responsible on the highway portion of the, if we're still responsible for the sidewalks on Highway 17, or is it the government? I don't know yet. I know these drain sewers are their responsibility, but I'm not sure the sidewalk. The second thing is, it is terrible, it is hard on the machine, like I know this person, this is my niece. And I know that she has a scooter and she also has a wheelchair. And she goes from her house, which is on Lily Street, over to the museum because she got a job for 4 hours a day or something. And it's just killing her wheelchair and killing her scooter, you know, to do that. But anyway, that just, you know, that I noticed some of the things on the sidewalks that it's terrible, really is terrible.
Maybe what.
Councilor Gardner?
Yeah, so just from the letter, you know, I appreciate that we've been doing those applications. Those are things that council isn't always aware of, that staff are doing on the town's behalf, and thankful that those things are happening, because I wasn't even aware of some of these grants. And maybe I should be, but I just kind of bring this back to kind of shedding some light on our budgeting process and the lack of bringing this forward, because this has been at the top of my wish list for 3 years, so three budgets now. There's 2 items that I've desperately wanted to get, and I haven't been able to have an opportunity to get them in there. So beach mat for the island was at the top of my list. And just a few weeks ago, I had a conversation with the director, just bringing light to the fact that maybe we don't always think of things as able-bodied people, but the previous council made an accessible splash pad, put an accessible washroom there, accessible pathway through the park. To get to it is 10 feet of gravel.
Yeah.
Nobody thought to pave or to put a cement walkway for the 10 feet to get into the park from the parking lot. Right, so it's just small things like that, and that's something that we talked about. And maybe, you know, the next time we pave, we can look at it when we're fixing spots around town. But you know, little things like that that seem so small to us, but it's a big deal for them. I just wanted to point out that I did bring it up to JP2G in some of our conversations on the reconstruction of Main Street next year, that now is the time for the town and JP2G to be approaching businesses on Main Street, so that we can work together to ensure that they have what they need from our side to become accessible. You know, like I think of, there's a business on Main Street that has a lip that's 3 inches, and it's like, to make that building accessible, they gotta do accessible doors and everything, that's on them. But can we build the grade up 3 inches when we redo Main Street in that location, right? And in other locations, maybe they need a ramp and stuff like that, but wouldn't it be the time to do it all when the company is there doing all of Main Street? Wouldn't that be a good time for the company or the business to partner with the company and the town, and we can all make it work? You know, obviously we're not gonna pay for it all, we'll pay for it, but we can do things within our capability to, like I said, that 3 inches. If we can do that, that's very minimal for us. So that was something that I brought to JP2G, and I hope that we're having those conversations with some of those businesses. And then the last comment that I had on it is just, I'm a pretty active member on Facebook. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. You know, it can keep you up at night, what you read on there, but you know, voicing your concerns on there isn't how you get in touch with council. I don't think all of this council is regular members on those pages and follow them. So, you know, writing a simple letter to council like this, or coming to present to us, it's got us all talking about it, right? So this simple letter has got us all talking, and this person has said that they wrote on Facebook multiple times and got nowhere. And now they're getting somewhere by writing a simple letter. So I would always invite somebody to either attend our meeting or to write to all of council and not social media.
Councilor Ross?
I was just gonna say the same thing, and working with JP2G would be great, because like they have engineers at their disposal who can help them to possibly tell them, if you do it like this, it'll be correct and it won't cost you as much money, or they can help them figure out things. So yeah, I think working with JP2G is great, and especially since we're revamping Main Street anyway, so perfect.
Councilor Levesque?
Well, the last presentation they made to us on the Saturday was the Main Street project, and it was discussed that they're going to be accessibility put into the plan, so. It's there, it's just a matter of getting the funds put in place and get them to start the construction, whoever they're gonna hire. But we've got to make sure that there's accessibility for some of these people.
Councillor Tudor?
Yeah, I remember sitting here that Saturday or that. When our engineers had all these. Placards set up on either side here about Main Street. And we discussed the ways that we could help the business people. This is why it's so important for us to let our people know and make on our residents know to attend these things. Not one business person showed up, not one. And I was so disappointed, you know, that they wouldn't take an hour out of their time, their busy day to come and give their opinions on how to fix their Main Street, like, or help to, because we had the engineers, they could have discussed it with the engineers at that particular time. So what we did then, seeing that nobody showed up, we asked our engineers to go personally to each, I don't know if they ever done that, I'm sure they did, because we asked to do it. But the point is that come to these public meetings and share your opinions, we need your input, we need the people's input, so to help us to make the right decisions here. So anyway, thanks.
Just to back you up, Councillor Tudor, the town did bring hand delivered invitations. And so it's not 0, 1 didn't come to the meeting, but we connected him with the engineers. And he's gonna make sure that what he's planning is gonna work in conjunction with what their construction will do.
That's right.
So you're right, you know, that's why we advertise, that's why. Especially that one, because it was, you know, hand delivered invitations. Okay, any other comments? So.
This will be a timing up as well, it's just that for the accessibility of the businesses, they had to have it done by 2026. Sure.
That's not up to us.
No, sorry, I'm just generic questions.
I thought it was 25.
Okay, but then there was the extension, I understand, absolutely.
Pushing over next year.
I guess like I'll have a generic comments kind of tailing off what Matt and everyone's been saying of coming to council about services, like that is one of the main reasons why we are here. And that's why we have our director who has been working behind the scenes and doing all those types of things as well. It's very important. Coming here or writing letters is the way to do it, absolutely.
Yeah.
And to put a good spin on everything, I think this council has been proactive. We've done, you know, all the engineering and all the planning on Main Street. That's you know, some of the work will be done very shortly. The whole construction will be done next year. We also addressed the fact that we're trying to find out from our engineers if we need our bridge to be rehabilitated or replaced. And so I think we are in some sense, you know, aware of this. The one thing I would like to ask, and I'm gonna ask through the CAO, that staff send Ms. Bear an answer to her letter, everything that was discussed here, and we can do that, yep. And are we good to go?
Yep.
Okay, so we're into information reports. 9.1, changes to council procedures, bylaw and governance policy 3. It was prepared by the municipal clerk and the deputy clerk. And it's report number 26-34R. Tables yours, or the floor is yours.
Thank you. So this is coming back from the regular meeting of June 8th, where we spoke to council to make changes to the current governance policy 3 council meetings. So during that discussion, council provided some feedback on what they would like to see the changes to reflect. So following that, And speaking with a few council members, we did some changes to this. So I'll go section by section, just like we did last time. So section 3.1.1, the preparation, this has been kept in there and it's the exact same from the June 8th meeting. It's just housekeeping and policy. Council is okay with that. So section 3.1.2 on the formats of the agenda. On the regular meeting agenda, one of the changes was to move the position of the questions from the public pertaining to the agenda. So that way there, the public can question some things that are being brought to council before council discusses them and comes up with a motion. So we're suggesting that this location be moved to after the reports, but before all the motions. Okay, so that council can hear all the reports from staff that they requested before passing any motions on these reports. It'll give the anybody in the audience opportunities to ask questions on these reports. And we've also created some rules around the question period as well, which is further into here. Change number 2 is to the information reports / motions. So this we've kept from the June 8th report and we've just changed a few things. We'd like to have the 2 types of reports, one being an information report, the second being an action report. So that way their information reports are just that, information to council. There is nothing that requires a motion from these. So this will eliminate motions to accept the report. And then the action report, of course, would be exactly that. It's actions that council will need to do after staff recommendation. So we wouldn't create a motion for this, but the motion would be done in the notice of motions. So council will hear the action report. You'll have a chance to ask questions. The gallery will ask questions if required during the question period, and then council will vote on the motion for that action. And then on a committee of a whole, committee of the whole's purpose is for council to discuss something, like anything that is required from them. It's not for motions. That is done through a regular council meeting. So we are suggesting that the agenda format for the committee of the whole be changed to remove notice of motions period, because none should be done during the committee of the whole. To just have information reports and to include new business, so that council can bring up a new business topic in a committee of the whole. You can discuss it and any actions resulting from that be brought forward to a regular meeting. Under section 3.2.2 meeting dates, that is the exact same from the June 8th report. And it's just the wording around the inaugural meeting, what I would like to see, which is more consistent with the Municipal Act and the Municipal Elections Act. And then removing the standing committee reference, again, that's just some housekeeping. Same with section 3.5.4, duties of the chair. Remove the 3rd bullet stating ensure the clerk enters all decisions into the council's tracking system. We removed that tracking system in 2025, so that's just regular housekeeping. Section 3.4, electronic participation. So council requested some further clarification to wording on this one that needed to be clearer, speaking of the compensation beyond the allotted 12 virtual meetings. So staff is suggesting the following wording under that. Members are limited to 12 virtual meetings per calendar year, while attendance at the meetings is encouraged and supported. Compensation for electronic participation will not be provided for any meetings beyond this limit. So we think that's a clearer wording for that section. So if council does have an update to change that, we would also have to change the bylaw on 2304 for the remuneration for council so that it states that fact as well. So if this goes through council, you will see that bylaw come back as well. Section 3.12.3 has presentations by delegation. So during the meeting, members had some questions on this section and how to respond to presentations. So the staff was suggesting the following changes. That one, each presentation is automatically put on full business so that council may discuss any actions that is required while giving time for each member to think about the presentation and the response they would like. Two, that the clerk send a letter thanking the presenter and that council will discuss the presentation at their next regular meeting and follow up with the presenter if required. And three, that members of council are limited to ask the presenter one question each and that a follow-up may be done right away if the question was not fully answered.
I have a question here. At the next regular meeting, so second and fourth Mondays are a regular meeting. Committee of the whole is the third Monday.
Correct.
Could that be added into the committee of the whole agenda? Without a vote, you know what I'm saying?
To be discussed.
To be discussed.
You can, so then we would just have to amend or put that under new business on a committee of the whole. So we can change that wording there to state either at the next regular meeting or at a committee of the whole.
Yeah.
So we can add that wording into there if council has an appetite for that.
Is everyone okay with that?
Yeah,
For sure. Yeah, that'd be all right.
Councilor Mick, you okay with that?
Sounds fine to me. Thank you.
Wouldn't that contradict what was said earlier about not passing any votes on committee of the whole by sending to the next council?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
This, wouldn't this, you said in one earlier said that there would be no voting on committee of the whole meetings, right? It'd be sent to the next regular council.
Correct.
So now we're saying that we're gonna vote on something or no?
No, we can discuss it.
Discuss
Just a
the
discussion.
presentation.
Oh,
Like an information.
yeah.
okay, great.
So we would amend number 2 to state that the clerk will send a letter thanking the presenter and that the council will discuss the presentation at their next regular meeting or a committee of the whole meeting and follow up with the presenter if required.
Thank you.
So we'll add that clarification there. And then this entire section, presentations by delegations, we can put that on the town social media account, clarify how a member of the public can be on the agenda to speak to council, as it was suggested that the public has limited knowledge on the steps to take before going to council. So we can do all of that and clarify that on our website as well. We created a new section after hearing feedback from council. It would be section 3.13, questions from the floor pertaining to the agenda. So this new section would go around the questions and was asked to create it to tighten up how members of the council and members of the public are to conduct themselves during this question period. So I met with the mayor and we're suggesting the following apply. That members of the public be limited to one question each. A follow-up question may be asked if not fully answered. Any member of council may be asked a question. Members of the public shall not enter into a debate. And a 20-minute time limit be placed on this section of the agenda. And I included the full wording within the actual policy that you were provided with this report.
Councillor Ross has a question.
I thought we were going to allow members of the public just to ask a question, or is this a different section pertaining to the agenda?
No, it's the same section, so they're allowed to ask questions pertaining to the agenda. There was no rules, for lack of a better word, within the policy
Okay,
to state how that happens, when it happens. It just states that they're not to enter into a debate, which is kind of lost at this point of time because there has been much debate going on after the public asked questions. So we just actually included a section in there pertaining to questions from the floor pertaining to the agenda. We're just tightening up the policy.
So I think the important thing here is it's 20 minutes. So if we have a full house, that's why we want to limit it to one question.
question.
If there's only one person and they have a second question, I think the chair can
Yeah,
let that happen. So
Yeah.
so it's not that we're trying to muzzle anyone,
Yeah.
we're just
no,
trying to
I
give
get it.
everyone an opportunity.
Opportunity.
Yeah. Any further questions?
No.
Okay. Sorry.
Nope, that's okay. So that's the end of our changes. So we are recommending the proposal that council approves all of these. So the way that I put it within the package here, you can either approve the entire policy as we made changes to it as of now, or if you feel like you don't want to approve all of the sections that we stated in this report, you can just pick and choose your sections that you want to approve as well. So I leave it up to council's discretion.
So out of all the sections, is everyone okay with those sections? So I would recommend that we go with the second one and list all the sections. There's 7 of them. Because there's 2 there. There's the first one is going to be to accept the report, because that's what we've been doing. This might be for the last time. And then we can either say we approve the proposed policy and bylaw changes, or we can say which sections. Which the clerk has just itemized them all and explained them all. Councillor Gardner.
Yeah, 3.12.3. I don't support limiting to one question. I do know that, as we've seen tonight, sometimes it gets a little repetitive and the same question gets asked, and things are answered in reports and stuff like that, and it gets out of hand and we end up an hour and 20 minutes into a presentation. But I think that's part of the duties of the chair is to kind of rein those in and unfortunately be the bad guy sometimes and kind of pull everybody back down to reality. But I don't, like, for example, I had what I thought were 4 or 5 important questions tonight, and I wouldn't have wanted to pick one of those and then start to go to my council members and say, hey, can you ask this one for me? Can you ask this one for me? If you don't have any questions, because I need answers to these. So that's.
I think you nailed that one. It's up to the chair. And tonight was totally different. It wasn't a 10-minute presentation. It was an hour presentation. So I expected more questions. But on the 10-minute, you ask your question, and if they didn't answer it, you can ask a follow-up. And then it goes to the next meeting where we discuss it as a whole.
Okay, I still don't, I support
What are you suggesting?
that we don't put a limit on it and we just, the chair is responsible for.
Limited questions or
Yeah.
limited time?
Well, limited, and if you wanna make it in time, then that's okay, the downside to that is that tonight, I asked a question, it took 20 minutes to get a response. So I don't want that to chew up my time limit, if I get a 5-minute or 10-minute time limit, I don't want somebody else talking to waste my time. So, I just think that, you know, judging by how the meeting's going and how, you know, if it's pertaining to what's going on and stuff like that, it's up to the chair to kind of pull us back down and pull the reins in on us a little bit, but I don't think you have to put it in paper that it's one question. Because otherwise, if it's in paper that it's one question, it shouldn't be one question when we want it to be, it should be one question all the time.
We might be able to just like leave it as it is and then put some language that the clerk would manage all of that. Just be like time.
Okay, so
I think-
the members of council are limited to ask the presenter questions. And that a follow-up may be done right away if the question was not fully answered. Who can?
And I'm okay with language in there of the chair reserves the right to limit your questions.
Yep.
So I'm not sitting here with 40 questions asking and trying to waste everybody's time.
Councilor Pierre?
That's what I was gonna mention about the chair should be the ultimate authority at this table anyway. And he should have the authority to say, you've asked 3 questions now, you know, it's time to do whatever,
yeah.
vote or.
Rule of thumb, I try and make sure that everybody has an
Yes, you do.
opportunity.
Yeah. we can say
If
that
someone
much.
has 2 questions, but.
Yeah.
Okay,
Can I butt in, Mayor Raymond?
certainly.
I think if I'm not mistaken, if it's not in our bylaws, I know it's in like the Robert's Rules of Things, where it's not usually common practice to limit the amount of questions asked per counselor, but there is, we all have the right to call the motion to a vote, which then limits us to a final clarification. If I remember correctly, that's already in our bylaws. Like if things are going on, we're talking in circles, anyone has the right around the table to call the motion to a vote to wrap things up.
And that's why we're removing one question that we're just gonna say, members of council can ask questions and that a follow-up may be done right away if the question was not fully answered. So that takes care of your first one, limit, so we all agreed to that. And the other one, if we're going in circles, well, sure, it's elsewhere in our rules and procedures. Councilor Gardner?
When we're done with this one, sorry, I wasn't finished. I had another one on 3.13.
Me too.
We can get through this one if you want.
Okay, are we okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
3,
1-3?
Yeah, 3.13, again, I don't think that we should be limiting the questions. I'm okay with the time limit for the residents to ask questions. So that it doesn't get out of hand, and I know that sometimes we've been here 30-40 minutes, but that's the job. We're elected to be here, and I think that those people should be able to ask those questions. Again, I think it's the chair that has to manage those sometimes, and unfortunately has to be the bad guy to say, you know, okay, you're baiting into questions now and you're on question 14 and you know, this has gone on long enough. Let's have a personal meeting or something along those lines to discuss further. But I think it's up to the chair to manage on a case by case scenario.
We'll just remove the first bullet. And that will do it. Councilor Ross?
So I was under the impression, and maybe I'm wrong, that the questions were no longer going to have to be pertaining to the agenda. Was that not talked about? That members of the public could come and in a question period, they could, like, say somebody has a question about and maybe the berms, anything. that they could ask that question and hopefully it could be answered, and if not, we would try and get an answer to them soon.
That was my recollection, yeah, that was mentioned,
Okay.
but the answer to that was petitions and delegation. People have something that's not on the agenda and they have a question, they can file an application with the clerk to be heard, and they get 10 minutes rather than one question.
Okay,
But that's what I think it came out to, so.
okay,
So, and I know that we had received the letters, someone saying that there used to be 2 question period, there still are. There's the delegation and that's where it doesn't have to be on the agenda, you just have to be on the agenda to make that presentation to council.
okay.
Councilor Gardner.
My recollection from that conversation was the point that I was really trying to drive home was that it was questions and comments, not just questions, because we've seen it time and time again. You can word anything as a question, you put a question mark at the end of it, it's become a question, but that was my preference was to see questions and comments pertaining to the agenda.
And I've never stopped the comment, so. Unless it gets repetitive.
What are you doing on this one? Even in the same or you changing?
We removed the first bullet.
Yeah, they're just taking the first bullet or be limited to one question.
And then the wording for the second bullet will just state, be allowed a follow-up to said question if not fully answered.
Correct.
Okay.
Any other
No,
questions? No. So we went through all the sections, so we can list them on the motion. So I guess I'm gonna ask for a mover and a seconder to accept the report. So moved by Councillor Gardner, seconded by Councillor Tider. Be it resolved that Council of the Corporation of the Town of Mattawa receives report number 26-34R titled Changes to Council Procedures and Bylaw and Governance Policy 3. Questions, comments? Recorded vote requested by Councillor Levite. Questions, comments?
Councilor Levesque?
Yes.
Councilor Gardner?
Yes.
Councilor Teeper?
Yes.
Councilor Bigelow?
Yes.
Councilor Ross?
yes,
Councilor Mick?
Yes.
And Mayor Volante?
Yes.
Motion is carried unanimously.
Okay, now I need a mover and a seconder to accept the sections that are gonna be amended. And that a bylaw be brought back to council. One mover and a seconder. Okay, be it moved by Councillor Gardner, seconded by Councillor Levite. Be it resolved that council approves the following section changes to governance policy 3, council meetings policy as provided in report number 26-34R. Section number 3.1.1. Section number 3.1.2. Section number 3.2.2. Section 3.5.4. Section 3.4. Section 3.12.3. And section 3.13. And further that council directs staff to return at a regular meeting with the changes to be adopted by way of bylaw. Questions, comments? Ready to vote? Okay, and call for a vote, Councillor Mick.
No.
Okay, and the rest of us, all in favor? Carried. Nine point two, report prepared by CEO Treasurer report number 26-35R. Report from, sorry, it's titled Voyager Days 2026. Oops. Paul?
You. Yeah, so we're, Voyager Days 2026 or 27 annual is over and done. Again, for those in attendance, really blessed with great weather all weekend. So that's 3 years in a row, I think, of good weather. Attendance, I'll just say it, disappointing for me and I think for us, but we hit just under 1,800 people in attendance, or 82% of what I call break even. So at a later date, we'll come back with the final cost for the weekend. We will be below break even. I don't know how much, but we will be below. So in this report, rather than looking on that, looking at Voyager Days from a financial economic impact to the community and what it means really to Mattawa and area as a whole, the 3-day festival. So the first thing we focused on is from that appendix 1, which is where the ticket sales are by origin, and I thought you might find it interesting to see who supports us and where they come from. And you can see that they do come from far and wide. It's not just, you know, close by here. It's all over the province and even out of province. And so the ones that we're focusing on are the out of towners with 911 out of town tickets deemed to contribute to economical impact, financial impact for the weekend. There's other ones that are gonna book motels and buy their gas here and their groceries and go to restaurants and you know, maybe, you know, the retail stores and liquor and so on. And when you put the information into the Ontario tourism model for Northern Ontario Festival, it kicks out a fairly impressive estimate of $475,000 of direct impact to the area. And then when you add the indirect as well, because those businesses that are being patronized have to hire staff, bring staff on, buy more supplies, you know, and so on. So they estimate up to, they named the province, to $750,000 to $800,000 of potential total economic impact, which is huge. And I, you know, I don't have any blinders on. It's not all from Mattawa. The area gets that. All the way in North Bay to the biggest center and the most hotels and restaurants, and they would get a big chunk of that. But so does Mattawa and all our businesses on the main street and all the vendors that were there and so on, and our grocery stores and the gas stations and the restaurants and, you know, all the hotels around the area of Mattawa, doesn't have a lot, but not no Cameron and so on. So it is an important weekend. Hugh said that we'd spend $50,000 on an economic initiative, and that would yield $500,000 or $500,000 benefit. I would do that in a heartbeat. We do that in a weekend, and so it gives something for you to think about. So there is in appendix 2 there the detail, which comes right out of that provincial model in terms of how the benefit is calculated, how they go about doing it. And if you spend time on it, it's fairly reasonable and gives credibility to the whole thing. So I think for me, there's a lot of work to run Voyager Days. And the staff will tell you it's an incredible amount of work. And it's easy to say, yeah, but until you see it every day. And I kind of step back and watch what everybody does. It's an enormous amount of work. But there is to the community the most biggest financial impact of the year. So what I don't want, or rather don't want, is council decides they want to go ahead with it. I don't want to find out in January or February next year that yeah, let's do it, because you're tying your hands behind your back. And if council wants to do it, then it'd be nice to know so that we can start planning now. I'm not saying that's what we want to do, but if your council's wishes that we go forward,
than us. Thank you.
Questions, comments? Councillor Ross.
Yeah, I think Voyager Days work is amazing. I don't know what the people in town would do without it, especially the businesses. Same thing with the other one, the smokes and spurs, that they all bring in such a huge amount of money to our local people, and on top of that, it puts us on the map. People coming through, they say, you know, let's go and stay there, maybe they'll open a business, there's an empty store, maybe they're thinking of that. I think Voyager Days is always gotta be a go, because I think you can't get that kind of publicity for the amount of money that we spend, as far as I'm concerned. That's it for me.
Councillor Levite.
I think it's a worthwhile festival. And I think some of the council had a great time, hangovers and everything. But the thing is that it's an event that's been 26 years. And I know that we have a little deficit sometimes. But look at the impact it does in the area. Everybody benefits from it. Even people that want to participate in their parks to cater food. They all participate in it. They got music. They make some money on it also. And the clubs, breakfast, suppers, Golden Age, Lions Club, we were all successful. I'm telling you, I remember the Lions Club and their breakfast was awesome. Mind you, didn't get as much as the one last year because it's a lower attendance, but they still made very well. So I would suggest that we move ASAP and give them the authority to reorganize it again, but early. And start doing search for the bands.
Any other comments? Councillor Gardner.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get too far into it, just without financials, it's hard for me to comment, like. It's taxpayer dollars in the end, so I think that's the most important thing to me. Where those numbers land will kind of guide my decision moving forward. I think it's a little bit unfair for this council to maybe commit, you know, that kind of money, half $500,000 approximately. For the next council in their first budget, and you know, without even having the financials from this event. So I'd like to see those before I kind of get right into it, but. My comment has always kind of been the same with Voyager Days, is that we're kind of that awkward in-between stage where we're too big of a budget for locals to support, and it shows you know, half the people are local that are attending, and half are coming from further away. But really you should probably be attracting more, so we're too big of a budget for locals to support, but we're too small of a budget to attract people from, you know, all over the place to really come and take over the town. So we can't rely on just locals to support the festival anymore. It's become a big expensive venture, and a lot of people in our community can't afford it. I'd like to see us try to come up with some local initiatives during the weekend that maybe aren't required to have a race of like local bands or something like that. We used to have a Thursday night, and we could do locals on Thursday night that local people can go to, you know, things like that. But yeah, I have lots of ideas for how we can try to revive it, but until I see financials, I'm not really prepared to commit to anything moving on. And last comment is just thank you to staff. I appreciate everything that you guys do for it. I run a weekend event and put in the hours for that, and you truly appreciate what everybody puts in for those events when you do those kinds of things. So I know what it's like, and appreciate all the work that you guys put into it to get us to where we are.
Any other comments?
Yeah.
Councillor Bigelow.
First off, I love how the report is laid out, especially for our tourism and everything like that. I think we have a really good example of the impact. Ironically, I also do agree with Nat, but I was actually going to ask a question of how quickly we could get the financials back. Because I would absolutely stop me way more time, and we need more time to plan for this and to get things done. However, it is hard to move things forward without knowing the financial side. I think that's the question of how quickly. But yeah, ultimately, we need more time. Absolutely. It was my critique actually of last year in my own head, and then hearing staff today and over the weekend. It's absolutely what's needed. But that's the say the CEO in terms of how quickly could we potentially get the financials back after the event. So, and I was.
Councillor Quebec?
I'm of the same opinion that I don't think I can make a decision without the financial side. I'd like to know exactly what it costs and what the taxpayers' portion was of that. I see this report, I like it, it's a lot of benefit to the community. But also, I'd like to know what actually cost us, or the taxpayers, I mean, as a community. Thanks.
Councillor Mick, any comments?
Yeah, I thank you to the staff, and I agree with pretty well everything's have been said. I do bring it up almost every year. I think since we got rid of the Voyage Days committee, that we did turn a profit when we did have the committee involved. So maybe I'll throw together a report asking for the reinstatement of the Voyage Days committee when we do get the financials in. That being said, I'd be happy to pass a motion tonight, planning on next year's festival, because I do agree that the more time, the better to make sure all of our T's are crossed and I's are dotted, which is a little less stressful for everyone involved.
Thank you. That leaves me, so I think everyone knows that I am a supporter of Voyageur Days. I called it an institution. I also understand that it's a huge undertaking, and hats off to all of our staff that somehow managed to pull it off year in, year out. We've got a lot of interesting numbers that the report provided us with. And the one thing we don't take account in that report is that a lot of people take in Voyageur Days without paid admission. And that is extra money also that's dropped in our town. If you drive around, you'll see in neighbors' yards, trailers, you know, some people don't make it to the site, but they're spending money in Mattawa. You know, and when I hear that the Mattawa's population doubles, well, just with the ticket sales that almost did. So if you go around and see what's happening, and Councillor DeBike talked about the parks and everything, there's no vacancy anywhere in town. And you know, I think it's our biggest our biggest not event, but EDO, economic development maneuver, and it would be a shame to let it go. Things that we don't mention also, and I think Councillor DeBike did, many service clubs benefit from it also. You know, it helps them to keep their head above water when things are a little rougher. The Brian Banks Memorial Fish Derby, you know, I know it probably would survive alone, but with Voyageur attached to it, you know, it's a big draw, it's huge. Having said all this, I can't speak both sides of my mouth. A while ago, I wasn't okay to make a decision for the next term of council. And I like what I hear, some want to see the true finances, and did I see that in your report, Paul, that we could probably have that first meeting in September?
Yeah, I didn't give a date, but I think that's reasonable, yeah.
That's reasonable, so myself, you know, having said that, it's financially, it's still viable. I'd love to support it. Do I support it for the next term of council? I have to make that tough decision at some point. I can't say that for one and then turn around and do the total opposite for another one. So I'll leave it at that. So we have a motion here to accept the the report. So I need a mover seconder. So moved by Councillor Devine, seconded by Councillor Ross. Be it resolved that Council of the Corporation of the Town of Mattawa receives report number 26-35R titled Voyager Days 2026. Questions, comments? None, I'll call for a vote. Councillor Nick,
Yes.
and all in favor? Carried. Now, we also have a motion here to commit the holding of Voyager Days for next year. We even asked for an amount, so I need a mover in the seconder.
Move that we go proceed.
And I need a seconder. We call for vote. Okay. So I need an amount. So do I put the same amount as this year? Okay, Councilor Gardner?
Yeah, I'm just asking for clarification, so. Would this be something that could be deferred, like technically, if we're lame duck, we can't make commitments of over $50,000. But the $50,000 would be a commitment for the 2027 spending year, not for this term of lame duck, right?
Right.
So could we make that decision deferred until the financials come in? Or no? No.
So if the financials come in for the next meeting, are we in lame duck at next meeting?
Possibly, yes.
Okay.
We'll find out on August 21st at 2 p.m. in Carolina.
But don't we meet on the 10th of September?
That's fast.
It's
the next
August 21st, we could be our the first case that we could be.
Yes, you're right, sorry.
Yeah. And then after the election,
Yeah,
we could again be
yeah.
in a lame duck situation,
Okay.
considering the amount of
Mhm.
candidates.
I have another procedure.
Yes.
Clarification. Is there a way or a mechanism that we can defer this till later in the meeting? Because there's an implication that could come up out of this later where the CAO could be delegated authority to be able to do these things.
I say we just accept the
School head.
the report and let's see what happens. Because, and I'm asking the clerk this, if this is defeated, we can't bring it back.
Right.
So that's why I say,
Oh,
you know, it hasn't been read, and I've asked for a seconder, I asked for the amount. And we all know there's gonna be a report in September. Which we could be away from lame duck. But it's still late in our term. So I'm asking, it's up to you guys what you wanna
I
do.
think we should proceed because they do go into the lame duck. And they're going into January, whatever it is, they're gonna wanna have enough time to put a program together. I totally agree with the CEO, if we wanna do it, we do it now.
but if that's, if we can't bring it
Oh,
up.
I understand that. There's not, you can't bring that motion to reconsideration.
We could,
You could,
Okay.
but it has to be
If
somebody
we're-
from the defeat.
if we're not in lame duck,
Right, that's the. Well, 11 days. But if it gets defeated, then you could give direction to the CEO if he gets delegated powers to proceed with it.
Not with this, you don't be able to, not according to what I read.
Yeah, we can.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we can.
It's in excess of $50,000.
so
Yeah.
all
Okay.
it is one,
Okay.
just not go forward with this motion.
Well, it's on the floor.
Not yet, it hasn't been read.
Well, there's a mover and a seconder there.
Yeah, but it hasn't been read.
I think we should go proceed with it. Bring it forward.
So we're voting.
Well, it's up to the mover and a seconder.
Okay, so
Yeah.
if we want to move it forward,
Okay.
Yeah, okay, so here we go, it's moved by Councillor Levite. Seconded by Councillor Ross. Be it resolved that council commits to holding Mattawa Voyageur Days for the year 2027. And further that council approves a budget for the 2027 Mattawa Voyageur Days event in the amount of $460,000. Last chance for questions or comments.
Recorded vote.
Yes, I have that recorded vote requested by Councillor Tadero. No questions, no comments?
Councillor Tiber,
No.
Councillor Levite,
Yes.
Councillor Ross,
Yes.
Councillor Gardner,
No.
Councillor Mick,
Yes.
Councillor Bigelow,
Yes.
and Mayor Belanger.
No.
Motion is carried with a recorded vote of 48 and 3 nays.
Thank you. Okay, 9.3. Whoops. There. 9.3, it's the landfill renewal report. Report number 26-36R, prepared by the Director of Community Services. Dexter, the floor is yours.
For sure. So the contract at the landfill is up. The renewal terms are up as well. I'll just read through the background here quickly. On September 27, 2021, the Corporation Town of Mattawa enacted bylaw 2123 to execute the Mattawa landfill site operations agreement with Dumo Backflow Services. The original contract covered a 5-year term starting October 1st, 2021, ending September 30th, 2026. Section 1.3 of Schedule A allows for contract extension options upon mutual consent. Extending the agreement for 1-year term ensures uninterrupted operation of the municipal landfill site in compliance with the MECP and our approved C of A. Just important to note, from a financial perspective, these numbers stay the same over the course of the year, no changes. No changes to the base rate, no changes to the attendance, no changes to the mixed loads, no change to sand cover material as needed. Just so we're on the same page, site maintenance and cover. The contractor's responsibilities are spreading and compacting waste, excavating and hauling cover material, maintaining waste piles, wood, drywall, shingles, construction demolition materials, and maintaining the areas adjacent to the recycling area. Compacting and covering the active face with 150 mils depth, 3 days a week, May 1st through November 1st, and 1 day a week for the rest of the year. That's what the contract says, but technically what has to happen is anytime there is refuse at the landfill, it does have to be covered, but we kind of use snow as some temporary cover, and we use a mix of the wood chips, so that's what's covered. 2 landfill attendants are provided Saturdays from 9 a.m. to noon, and they direct users to where to dispose. Ensuring operators are, it's important to ensure that the operators have their safety and emergency response and ECA regulatory training. So something that happens with the contractor is the contractor and the 2 attendants review our C of A requirements, and they sign off on them, and that is provided to the ministry. And compliance and reporting, they have to do daily landfill health and safety inspections. They have to carry a $5 million liability and provide WSIB clearances, which are provided, as well as the written reports. I get into a little bit of a report on the contractor here. So Carl, the owner of Dumo Backhoe Services, has always worked respectfully and professionally with the town of Mattawa when it comes to adjustments that need to be made at the landfill. Logs are provided in a timely manner and feedback is always accepted. For additional work, quotes are always provided and we have a scope of that additional work. There have been some concerns of mischief and theft at the landfill from the public. These concerns have been brought to the attention of the OPP and additional trips by the OPP to the landfill have taken place. Since those trips have taken place, we've seen a decrease in those efforts. Due to ongoing concerns, we have purchased 2 solar cameras, of which will be installed at the landfill site for monitoring. So at this time, with the contract expiring September 30th, it's recommended that we move forward with a 1-year contract extension with Dumo Backhoe Services. And if you have questions. Okay.
Councilor Gardner.
So obviously time is of the essence for this, being that it expires September 30th. I just, as an idea, is this something that we're meeting next week, committee of a whole? Yes, at this point, do we know? We should be.
No, there's no other meeting, and then next meeting is the second Monday of September.
Okay, because we're in.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I get the kind of the commitment that we have to make tonight. I just really like when I look at landfill attendant costs, $720. I know that a big issue in our community has always been that constituents complain about not having a second day. So I'd love to see us bring in a second day, and part of that contract and having a 1-year contract or a 1-year extension is probably the perfect time to trial that and see if it's worth it, and see if it works and see how we could do it. I do know that we also don't allow commercial waste to be brought in on Saturdays anymore, and we now charge them an opening fee of $60 on Tuesdays or Thursdays, which you have to call and make an appointment, and then you have to meet somebody up there, and hopefully everybody shows up and you get there and you get to do all that. If we had a day during the week that we could let in commercial waste and residential waste, it would be a little bit less busy because it's during the week. But I would really like to see that, and I'd like to kind of trial that for a year to see how it goes before this goes out this time next year, for next council. But I realize that that's not in here, and you would have to talk to the contractor and come up with what that cost would be, because there would be a cost. There would be a cost to them having people on site for that extra 3 hours, whatever you want a week. I wouldn't imagine there'd be so much on the cover part, because from what I understand, technically it's covering every day of the week, right? Technically covering every day of the week. So should be there covering on what would be a second day anyways. But I know that that's something then that we get roasted on a lot. It's something that we really need to look at. It's something that our commercial businesses aren't happy with, that they have to book a time and they have to call in and they have to pay the opening fee, which is often more than what the garbage fee is. So I really think that this is an opportunity to look at it for 1 year and to trial it.
So, Councilor Devine.
I thought it was, when we got on council, there was Wednesday was me, for commercial at the time, were we there? Wasn't that implemented?
Tuesdays and Thursdays, and it was implemented by council before us.
Okay, so I agree with you. I think we should have like a Wednesday for the commercial aspect with some residential stuff. And then there'd be less lined up on Saturdays and waiting to have directions to go there, because you gotta waste a half an hour to 45 minutes before you get to your unloading your garbage or scrap or metal or whatever it is. So there's something maybe you can look into somehow, Mr. Saturday?
So this is the landfill contract. This is the way it was
I
created.
understand it.
Just important to note the unionized staff implications. So let's say, for example, if you know what Councilor Gardner is looking for is a Saturday and a Sunday, well, we have a staff that works at the landfill as an attendant as well, outside of this contract, and they leave early on Friday, 4 hours. So they work 4 hours on Saturday to make it not overtime on Saturdays. So if I were to recommend something, but my recommendation, and I haven't even talked to my boss about this yet, so. Would be to pick a day during the week
Yes.
and to open for a period of time where it doesn't impact this contract.
Right.
Where it allows for additional service. And then instead of having Tuesdays and Thursdays appointments, you can have, this is the time that it's open on Wednesdays or Tuesdays and Thursdays from this time to this time. Which would allow our staff to be there for a period of time and allow it to be open where there's no open fees for the contractor or for the commercial.
So you got a Wednesday, which would be perfect, because then it's between two Saturdays. So,
I just wouldn't wanna be in the scenario where we're taking all kinds of appointments on Tuesdays and all kinds of appointments on Thursdays, but then opening to nobody on Wednesdays. I think it either goes one or the other, either we open and here's the time during the middle of the week, or we
Yes.
take appointments.
I agree.
Councillor Ross?
I'm just curious as to why a contract, why they can't go, why they have to make an appointment.
So, my understanding, being on the previous council.
Yeah.
At the time, it was a safety concern. And it was the differentiation between having a triaxle show up on a Saturday. Versus a commercial small trailer. There was no, you couldn't say yes to this one and no to
No,
this
not
one. So it was just no dumping, and it's not really safe when you have people going
Yeah.
into the landfill to dump at the same time a big truck is there dumping. So that's why it was eliminated.
Okay.
Any other questions? Just regarding.
Just to follow up on that, like, so if we did say a Wednesday or Tuesday or whatever, I think that you would have a lot of commercial businesses use it because. They would avoid having to pay that $60 fee to open every time. And having to be there for a set time, you know, things happen in business and you can't always be there at a set time, but. Would it be like, I really wanna drive home that like it'd be open to residents too, like, so we probably need staff there. Like, I don't think it's just commercial, I don't think there's enough commercial to warrant somebody sitting there for 3 hours. But if we offered it to residents,
And
you'd probably get, you know, a quarter of what you get on a Saturday, but at least if you have commercial and residential on a Wednesday. Then it might be worth the time to be open.
But I would just say like, I think it's outside of this contract. And we can take it back and obviously it's good feedback. And we do realize that there's a need. It's nice for us to address it while we're talking about this, but I think we can come up with a solution that works for everybody.
Okay, Councillor Bear?
I was just gonna say that same thing last time. I think we should, if we do open the sale on a Wednesday for commercial, they'll come. If it's free to dump, I mean, it's not free to dump their product, but it's free to, you know, come in.
yes,
They'll show up for sure.
So my comment is, can we go ahead and extend this for a year so we don't have a break in service? Okay, because we won't be able to make that decision maybe coming on the 21st or after the election. And once he's agreed to the extension, the 1-year extension, that staff come back to us with a proposal. That, you know, we're gonna try maybe Wednesday afternoons and,
Yeah.
figure out the optics and, then we can make that decision then. Go ahead.
Yeah, so. Just for greater clarity, the contractor has already agreed to the 1-year extension.
Yeah.
Subject to council's approval, so you don't have to go back to the contractor, it's,
It's already.
he's already agreed if we, or if the table agrees,
Yeah,
okay, so that's. But the director got that beforehand, said if.
I
Council
realize
votes for that, so that's done. So I think what we're looking for is for council to say,
Yes.
yay, go ahead and renew for a year. Piggyback onto that, the additional service of the Wednesday or whatever day is decided. It's going to the director's point, it's gonna fall outside the contract. There's gonna be some costs associated with that, but it's going to be
minimum,
manageable.
there you go.
It's not gonna be a crazy number. And I think we can come back and let council know what that is. And say, but I want to be able to secure the contractor now. So that come October 1, we'll not without a landfill operator.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree with that, you will come back to council with a proposal.
Sure.
For the Wednesday, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Councillor Peter.
Um. Do you, like,
I'll move that.
I'm trying to think of implementing this Wednesday or Tuesday or whatever day. In this 1 year extension to try it out. You. Have the authority to. To spend up to $30,000 or something. In an emergency or.
And
And then if it's an emergency, it's 30.
50,
Okay. Pardon?
50.
50 in emergency.
Okay,
anyway, yeah,
doesn't matter. So couldn't you come up with a reasonable or a price that's suitable to both? Our director and the contractor. And just implement it without having to come back to us or?
No, I think it has to come back because it's outside of a contract. We have
We have to
to,
approve it.
we have to approve it, so it's.
yeah, I think we're okay, we're on the right track, we'll review the agreement for a year. And then we'll have a sidebar to it, which will be another big service, whatever the director decides to invest in.
Yep. Not to brush us along here, but I think we have three motions, cause we'll have these two and then we'll have to extend, right? So we gotta get all these done in 10 minutes.
Won't happen.
Well, let's try.
We're going in,
That's what I'm saying, so we still have to pass one to extend beyond 9 o'clock, so we've got 3 to do in 10 minutes.
I thought we would be doing that resolution pretty soon.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so Councillor Levite indicated they'd like to move it, someone wants. Okay, moved by Councillor Levite, seconded by Councillor Gardner, be it resolved that. Council, the corporation of the town of Ottawa receives report number 26-36R titled landfill renewal. Question, comments? Calling for recorded vote requested by Councillor Levite. Question, comments? None?
Councillor Levite,
Yes.
Councillor Gardner,
Yes.
Councillor Mick,
Yes.
Councillor Ross,
Yes.
Councillor Teeber,
Yes.
Councillor Bigelow,
Yes.
and Mayor Malonche.
Yes, sorry.
Motion is carried unanimously.
And I need a seconder for the other part. So moved by Councillor Gardner, seconded by Councillor Ross. Be it resolved that council authorized the mayor and CEO treasurer to execute a 1-year contract extension with Dumont Backhoe Services for landfill site operations services, maintaining the existing rate of pay under bylaw 21-23. Questions, comments? I'm gonna call for a vote. Councillor Mick,
Yes.
and all in favor? Carried. Do you have that motion ready, please?
It's fast.
We shall see.
Thank you very much. So I need the seconder to go past 9 o'clock. So moved by Councillor Ross, seconded by Councillor Levite, be it resolved that council agree to continue the meeting past the allotted time of 9 PM, not to continue past 10 PM. Questions, comments? None? Call for a vote. Councillor Mick,
No.
okay, and all in favor? Carried.
pull myself on Joe.
9.4, garbage collection, report number 26-37R. Report from the Director of Community Services. Dexter, floor is yours.
All right, so another report to add to a bit of a history lesson here, but and unlike or like the landfill, we rely on contracted services for the collection and transportation of residential and commercial waste within the town. The current extension agreement executed with Paul Lafreniere Contracting covers the 3-year period from January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2026. At this time, we'd like to go to tender for this contract, and here's some of the reasons why. So one, the contract and its extensions have expired. The existing agreement contains no further renewal options past December 31st, 2026. Garbage collection services were originally tendered under bylaw 12-04 and later extended through a 3-year agreement signed in 2024. The 2024 to 2026 agreement fulfilled the final extension terms available under the municipal contract framework. And the second reason is we've also recently had the transition to the new recycling program. So under Ontario's Blue Box regulation, shifts the responsibility for residential recycling collection is transitioning to the producer responsibility organization. Consequently, recycling collection services have been fully removed from this agreement, and we require a new structured RFP focused solely on garbage collection. Our goal here is to initiate the RFP process in advance of January 1, 2027. And if you're not familiar, the scope of the contract is as follows: residential and commercial garbage collection within our service area. Obviously, here's the service population of 1,000 households and roughly 30 commercial establishments. We have a weekly pickup from May 1st to October 31st and a bi-weekly pickup November 1st through April 30th. And the commercial schedule is 104 collections per year roughly. But there's in some cases that there is additional pickup scheduled by the contractor with the commercial industrial entities in our community. Getting into the details, they also empty our public receptacles on a schedule of 5 weekly. So that's those receptacles you see Main Street, Waterfront, Conservation Island, along the dog walking routes. They're responsible for emptying those. At the occasional time they fill up quicker than they can get emptied, and we end up picking them up. And they're responsible for their own supplies, trash bags and those cans, and so on and so forth. Just some information there that all the waste collected goes to our landfill. And important part here is the verification of the town's clear see-through bag policy and the 2-bag can weekly residential limit. So what's important to note is that stipulation is only within the contract. There's no other policy that says that is either a bylaw or a policy. Non-compliant materials, hazardous items, yard waste, bulk refuse, those items will be identified by myself and the public works supervisor if people are trying to represent those, and we're out in our contract to put it up. Just historical comparison. So here's the history lesson for you. What started out as around $68,000 a year in 2015 for garbage pickup has now got to about $165,000 a year plus HST over 11 years, 12 years. So anything outside of the scope that needs to be picked up is at a rate of $65 an hour plus fuel surcharge. Like the landfill, they're required to maintain $5 million liability, WSIB clearances. And then we retain the right to withhold 10% of the monthly contract for any uncorrected deficiencies, but since I've been here, that's not been the case. And really, right now, what we're trying to do is get ahead of this before December 31st. So we're looking to create an RFP between now and the end of September, October, public advertisement, November evaluation of those bids, and December hopefully have something in place for the new council to approve. And then a contract report as well. So Paul, the owner of Paul Lafreniere Contracting, has always worked respectfully and professionally with the town of Ottawa when it comes to adjustments that need to be made as well. Adjustments in communication with the contractor have been inconsistent. However, pickups continue to occur as scheduled for residential. In times where the garbage truck is down for repair, alternative arrangements are always made by the contractor. Now, in the contract, it says reports and tracking logs from the contractor are to be provided to the municipality. I have not received those as it pertains to the collection agreement. However, the forms that the agreement refers to are not something we are able to track. So it's something that we're working on, but we do talk from time to time and do have verbal updates. Otherwise, what we're looking for as a recommendation is to proceed with creating an RFP and proceed with the process and be able to have an agreement in place before the December 31st, 2026 deadline.
Questions, comments? Councillor Tider.
Did we apply or two, I think we had 2 3-year extensions that we could use and we used both of them?
That's correct.
Councillor Gardner.
Yeah, just, I think that every once in a while, it's good to go out to market and kind of see where things land. I know that in my council term, we haven't really done that, so we haven't put an RFP out, and you know, it's ballooned significantly from 2023 to today's, so in a matter of a few years, it's gone up 200%. So it's drastically increased, and are we getting more for our service or more service for our payment? I don't know. I like the contractor. I like that it's a local contractor. I like that they do the little tidbit of things of cleaning up the garbage or picking up the garbage on Main Street and stuff like that, that, you know, you might not always get with other contractors, but at the same time, I know that we often run into truck issues, and then there's always people on Facebook commenting about that and upset about that. But the biggest thing to me is just it's gone up significantly in price, and that kind of concerns me. I'd like to see kind of where the market's at with it and see if we could do better.
Councillor Mike.
Looking at the figures that he presented to us, and you're only $6,500 different, or 7,000, sorry, difference. So with the cost of fuel, insurance, employees and benefits, whatever they need to keep these trucks going, and repairs and maintenance, I tell you, as a courier, it costs a fortune. Believe me, you gotta see the expenses you get when you have repairs. And if that's the price it is, I tell you, when you bring in a contractor from out of town that has to come here, bring your vehicles there, bring them back home to North Bay and all this stuff, I don't think you're gonna get any cheaper than that.
But I didn't, then who says it's from out of town? Could be someone else from town too. That's what an RFP is. Is to see
They're gonna have to get really equipped and buy all that equipment.
Can I just get the clarification? What do you mean that there's a $7,000 difference
Well, you look at your.
From last year.
from last year to this year?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm talking about from 2023 when it was 82,000 and now we pay 165. That's not 7,000, that's 83,000. Went up in 3 years.
my question to you, Dexter, is seafood bags. You made the comment that it's in the contract, but nowhere else.
Okay.
And that's a pet peeve of mine.
Yeah.
It's either we keep that or we enforce it. You can't have it both ways.
Yeah.
So what's the recommendation there?
Yeah, it's part of the initial agreement that lived over the last 12 years. But there's no bylaw, there's no policy, there's no that says see-through bags, chew at the curb. You know, it's just whatever the contractor. We may have enforced it at some point, but I don't know what we would have enforced.
Yeah.
So that's
But
I think that's separate from the agreement. I think if we have a bylaw that says we have a clear bag policy, 2-bag limit, then we task the contractor to follow that policy. And it doesn't necessarily have to go in the agreement.
Okay, but that's gonna be part of the RFP.
I would think so, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. All right, any other questions? Councilor Bigelow?
Do we have any stats from prior years of the amount of volume, like the weighted aspects of things? Like I think if we're gonna put this out for tender, to get the most appropriate tender, they would have to be knowing the exact weight of what they're actually dealing with. Yeah, but
Good question. There is no weight, there's no scales. Would just be a made up number, right?
Yeah.
For a lot of this agreement, glass was collected in the trash. Now it's not, right? So it's going by population, going by the amount of road traveled. Will have to be, you know, by the number of pickups, by the frequency of pickups, by the limit in which those pickups exist. Those would be the determining factor for the contractor to price out the agreement. Those would be consistent for everybody.
Am I right in saying that weight is not the answer, it's volume? Doesn't matter how heavy it is, it's how much room it takes in the landfill.
Yeah, for sure, or in the truck, right? Because
Yeah.
if we're talking about collection, yeah.
Okay. Any other?
Just maybe another comment for council to keep in mind, right now, the neighboring municipalities, Matawan, Papineau, Cameron, all have the same contractor, and perhaps there's a rate differential that it favors all three municipalities by having one contractor do all three, which was one of the reasons we stuck with the current contractor 3 years ago. But the amounts are getting, out of hand, and how big they are, double in 3 years and so on. But I think the point that I'm making is we, as part of this process, we should, and they'll know when we see the RFP go out or the RFQ, but we should let the other communities know that we intend on going to market.
Absolutely.
And because, and good back them to them.
So we're ready to, need a mover and a seconder to accept the report? Seconder? Okay, moved by Councillor Ross, seconded by Councillor Bigelow, be it resolved that Council of the Corporation of the Town of Mattawa receives report number 26-37R titled Garbage Collection. Questions, comments? Report. Recorded vote requested by Councillor Levite. Any questions or comments? None?
Councillor Mike,
No.
Councillor Ross.
Yeah.
Councillor Bigelow,
yes.
Councillor Nick,
Yes.
Councillor Teagar,
No.
Councillor Gardner,
Yes.
and Mayor Belanger.
Yes.
Motion is carried with a recorded vote of 5 yeas and 2 nays.
Okay, we need a mover and a seconder for the meat of the. No one wants to move it? No,
Move what?
The RFP process.
we only accepted the
That was to
the
accept the
report. I'll second it. Get a table. Morning, please.
And so,
To go to 10.
Okay, so the motion is moved by Councillor Gardner, seconded by Mayor Benanger. Be it resolved that council directs staff to initiate a competitive request for proposal, RFP. Process exclusively for municipal garbage collection services. As the current garbage collection services extension agreement with Paul Lafreniere Contracting expires on December 31st, 2026. Question, recorded vote requested by Councillor Levite. Question, comments?
Just my only comment is, judging by the last one, I'm kind of getting an indication that there might be some people against this, but I don't understand how, because there's no opportunity for extension anymore. We've hit the limit of extensions on the contract. We have no contract. So we have to negotiate a new contract. So I guess the options are either go back to that person and come up with a new contract, which I think would go against a lot of our policies, and then, you know, we try to do the best for our tax dollars and stuff like that. And the other option is to go out to tender. But there's no more extension option in our current contract. That's done, it's gone, we've exhausted them all.
Any other comments?
I just have a comment that if there is no extension, then this is the way to open it up.
Okay, any other comments, questions?
I'm wondering if there's if there's a possibility that we can extend the contract again through a motion of council.
Sure you can, you just have to bring one for it.
I'm just
Then
wondering, I just asked a
So
question.
I'm gonna reel everybody in, this has been tabled. Okay, so we need to vote on it.
But you haven't read it out yet.
Oh, yeah, I did,
Oh, you did?
I did, yeah,
You read it.
yeah.
I don't know why I voted no on the first one, I was voting for the whole. The whole thing, not just a part of it.
What can I do?
Well,
You voted for it. Anyway, so no further questions or comments?
Councillor Levite,
No,
Councillor Gardner,
Yes.
Mayor Boulanger,
Yes,
Councillor Bigelow,
Yes.
Councillor Teeber,
no,
Councillor Ross, no. And Councillor Net.
Yes.
Motion is carried with a recorded vote of 4 yeas and 3 nays.
I'm missing the bylaw motion,
Yes, you are. I apologize.
no problem.
we take that a little break now.
Yeah, as soon as we get this one first. You don't mind? Then we're going.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's.
So there's nothing on the bottom.
Okay, okay, so 10.1 is here. It's 10.1 is the bylaw, it's bylaw number 2616. Okay, and this one here is for us entering a lame duck period. So it's whereas section 275(3) of the Municipal Act. Chapter 25 restricts council from taking actions on the following in the lame duck period. The appointment or removal from office of any officer in municipality, the hiring or dismissal of any employees of the municipality, the disposition of any real or personal property of the municipality which has a value exceeding 50,000 at the time of disposal, and making any expenditure or incurring any other liabilities which exceed $50,000. So therefore, it's that, that the council will enact the following. That the Corporation Town of Mattawa hereby delegates authority under section 275(3) of the Municipal Act, SO 2001, between nomination date and commencement of the council terms as follows. The CAO to be delegated authority as a financial signing authority for expenditures exceeding 50,000. That the CEO be delegated the authority to execute agreements of purchase and sale pertaining to the disposition of any real or personal property of the municipality which has a value exceeding 50,000 at the time of disposal for acquisition of property. The CEO be delegated the authority to hire or dismiss any employee of the municipality of Mattawa. That the CEO will report to council at the next meeting as soon as practicable on any actions taken under the restrictions listed under section 275. And that this bylaw shall come in force and effect only if the present council is subject to the lame duck provisions in accordance with section 275(3) of the Municipal Act and shall not extend beyond the commencement of the next council term. I did this for the benefit of the viewing audience so they know what we're talking about. I need a mover and a seconder. This was discussed last meeting and was asked to be brought back. So I have a mover, I need a seconder. Councilor Ross, sorry. So the motion is moved by Councilor Tiber, seconded by Councilor Ross. Be it resolved that council of the corporation of the town of Mattawa adopt bylaw 26-16, being a bylaw to authorize the chief administrative officer for certain acts during a restricted period. Questions, comments? Councilor Gardner.
Yeah, so I asked for this to come back. I have some, I did some research on it. So the part of the, when you just read it out, part of the limitations that we face is the appointment or removal from office of any officer in the municipality. My argument to that is that I don't think we need to remove any officers from the municipality currently. And if we did things like clerk, we have a deputy clerk. If it was a fire chief, I would constitute that as an emergency, or we have a deputy fire chief. Bylaw, or not bylaw, sorry, building official, I think you could constitute that could be an emergency. It doesn't tell you what it is emergency, it just says you have to deem it an emergency. So I think having that would be considered an emergency. Hiring or dismissal of any employee. Currently already the CAO has that power with most of our staff within our own policies. Council would only oversee management. And again, giving that power to one person to remove somebody as part of our management team, I don't think would happen. So I would think that council would have to be involved in that anyways. Disposition of property over 50,000. I don't think there's anything on the horizon. If it was already approved by council, then it's already covered. Unbudgeted expenditures or liabilities exceeding 50,000. We already have in our policies, the CAO can go up to 50,000, I believe, with emergencies. And then beyond that, the act does include a provision for council to be able to make those decisions in case of emergencies. So if we had to spend over $50,000 and it's not budgeted this year, I would consider it's probably going to be an emergency. I don't think we're looking to do anything outrageous. And the reason I'm really pushing back to this is that the last term of council, there was a pickup truck and a loader bought during that term that council had to swallow those costs and those payments for. And you're promised a financial report that we never got. We came in December, or maybe it was late November, but around that time. And come February, we still hadn't received any financial update as to what happened during that time. So I'm really kind of digging in my heels here that I really don't think we need to do this. We all went against strong mayor's powers, and it's kind of the same thing as strong CAO powers to any CAO that gets it. So I'm digging in my heels there. And again, it's nothing to do with Paul, but I didn't support it. The last council, when they did it, I was very vocal about it, and I don't want to be a hypocrite, so I'm digging in on this one. So that's my opinion.
Councillor Levesque?
Yeah, the section C is my biggest concern. About CEO being delegated authority to hire and dismiss any employee of the municipality, the corporation town of Mattawa. And I don't think that should happen. It should wait. I could see them dismiss them from their work with pay, and then when the new council comes in, they can review it and see if it's the cause of or why the determination was put there. Other than that, I'll go along with it, but I want this removed or I won't be supporting it.
No comments?
Right. Yeah, my comment would be, I already kind of said that, I believe like the main purpose of Vice Mayor Council is here to uphold all the services, policies and procedures of staff. I'm just gonna do everything else, and that's basically what that is saying, so I'm okay with it.
Any comments, Councillor Tobias?
I'm okay with it.
Okay, any comments, Councillor Nick?
No, thank you.
Okay, so
Recorded.
recorded vote requested by Councillor Levesque. Pardon me?
No, nothing, sorry.
I did read it.
Did you?
Okay,
I
and there's no more comments. I've asked around the table, so.
Councillor Levesque,
No.
Councillor Hubert,
Yes.
Councillor Ross,
No.
Councillor Bigelow,
Yes.
Councillor Mick,
Yes.
Councillor Gardner,
No.
and Mayor Belanger.
Yes.
Motion is carried for the recorded vote of 4 yeas and 3 nays.
Okay, so I need a mover and a seconder to go into closed meeting.
No, this
Oh,
no,
yeah, I got those.
11.
Hey, can we take a 5-minute break, recess right now? Councillor has to go. Anybody else has to go, please take the off the field. Sorry. Okay. So moving along, item 11, old business. 11.1 library proposal. Anything you want brought forward, Councillor Mick? I'll take that as a no. Okay, new business 12.1, Councillor Tiber, rental fees policy.
I'm sure we're all aware of what this situation costs us, and I think we need that policy ASAP. So. I mean, I had a lot of phone calls about why I voted no. Then you have to explain it all, but which is okay, that's my job to explain why I voted in certain way, I think, but. But let's get the policy done so we don't have any questions. Here's a policy and this is it, so. Anyway. That's all I have to say.
Can you explain a bit with the rent, what do you mean by rental policy?
The way that
The fees, the rent.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about Rosemount.
No,
That's what I thought you were talking about. Okay, that's why I asked for.
I was gonna say, this guy already made a presentation.
No.
Okay, so.
yeah, we just need the policy, let's get it and get it out of the way.
Questions from the public pertaining to the agenda, not gonna happen, there's no one here.
We actually do, we have
Oh.
people still online with us.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
It's a-
Point out-
Good evening. I have a question about my letter.
Oh, Mrs. Barr.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay, it was commented that my letter is how you get attention to this issue, but the AODA requires the town to be accessible to people in wheelchairs. It's the responsibility of the town through consultation with people with disabilities to identify, prevent, and remove barriers. Now, a few years back, an accessibility committee was going to be made. I put in an application to be on this committee to help identify these barriers, and it was decided that it didn't need to have one. I know it's not mandatory, but it is needed in this town. And there are so many issues that you guys say you're not aware of, but you should be. And I think you need to move forward by getting an accessibility committee so that it can be dealt with. A lot of these things are small issues that can be dealt with a little $100 fix. I know there's big things, but we're not looking to make big changes. We need the little things fixed first, like now, not in a year. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Okay, anybody wanna, Councilor Gardner?
Yeah, I agree, Cheryl. I think that a committee like that would be good. We have a kind of an arm's length unification committee, and I think at the time the thinking was that it was going to be kind of a committee of council. That I can't remember the exact structure, but maybe it was the amount of council members that were going to be on it that was a bit of the issue. Because after so many council members, then it has to follow our council meetings and has to be posted to the public and recorded, and all of those things have agendas. So maybe something that kind of involves more people from the public and a counselor to be on there, and to kind of that counselor be responsible for bringing the flow of information both ways from the council table back to the committee. I would support that, and I think that there would be a number of counselors that would be willing to take that role. But definitely, I agree. It's something that we need to do, and we need to do better.
Okay, Councilor Tibert?
Yeah, Cheryl, thank you for your letter. I know a few years back, I was on a committee called Mattawa Community Development. And we got a grant from the government to do a study on areas in the town that needed accessibility, that has accessibility problems. And I think the municipality does have a copy of that. We sent it to the municipality after we got it done. I think there was some things that were done, but you know, we were all waiting for this accessibility to come from the government, these proposals. But anyway, there is a study that was done. We also I think it was back in the Legion had got, when I was president, I had gotten a study done to create accessible parking spaces on Main Street. And I think that was done too, but the town also did a study a few years back, maybe 2 or 3 years. So we have those 3 studies that we could be looking at and carrying out those recommendations that were provided. But anyway, the studies have been done, and we did get grants for those studies. But anyway, we're waiting for our Main Street to be done. There is some accessibility that we provided in Main Street. So you'll see some really good improvements on our Main Street.
Councilor Levite?
Yeah, the new construction that's coming, hopefully within the next year. Accessibility is part of the plan for the Main Street, so. I hope that it will meet your requirements, and whatever it has to be a joint venture between the corporation, the contractor, and the business people to make an effort to have proper accessibility for wheelchairs. That's all I can say for now, and sorry that you're having a hard time with it, and I hope we can resolve the problem for you as soon as we can.
Any other comments? Councilor Ross?
I felt I agree. I think an accessibility committee would be a very good idea because a lot of us do not know exactly what is needed. So, I think possibly putting, some things together, stating some of the things that we could do or suggestions you have. Or possibly talk to a few others and make a little presentation and see if some things are possible, so we don't have to wait until our main street starts. I think it's gonna be starting fairly soon though, but it isn't just Main Street that has issues, there are other aspects in town as well, so. I think maybe putting a few things down on paper and sending it to council or presenting it to council would be a great idea.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a quick comment for you, Cheryl. I think this is great timing for you to bring this forward as well. Again, having a director of community services and also bringing up like the committees. I think our focus with the Main Street is also for the accessibilities. So I think the timing for all this is actually going to be a good thing, and we're going to get more things done. It'll be a lot quicker. And again, with the Main Street, I think it'll be a lot more obvious as to the things that the director was saying of things that are in the back.
Councilor Gardner?
I was just gonna ask I've never heard of the study that was done before our council, it was before this term of council. So if anybody has that document, can that be shared with council? I don't even know if staff would have it, but can we try to find it and share it around with council? I'd like to read it. I didn't know of its existence.
Yeah, it would be important.
I would be. And I'll put my 2 cents, thank you for reaching out to council. We started in 2023. I don't remember anything about that committee coming to this table. So that must have been in the previous years that it was done. Your letter was discussed at length. And everybody had questions, and I asked specifically for staff to answer your letter. So maybe it's an opportunity to not let this dialogue die down. Let's keep it going.
Right.
And
Yes.
I think anybody in their right mind wants to do what's right for our constituents. Our Main Street will get a complete new look by the end of the construction season next year. The bridge is also being addressed right now as we speak. We're still waiting to find out if it's going to be a rehabilitation or a replacement. And some grants have been applied to, and our director was talking about them, for better accessible washroom facilities, town hall, the info center, and the entrance of both buildings. So that's one of the answers you were looking for. Has there been any application? Yes, there has. And we were also successful in securing one at the arena for to help residents, age residents and everything, to use our facility at the arena, and the proper equipment's going to be provided. So we did get that. So that's something that's on our radar also. But have a look at our staff's response, and I encourage you to keep the dialogue going. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? No? Okay, so we are gonna move into a closed session. I need a mover and a seconder to do so. Okay, moved by Councillor Levite, seconded by Councillor Ross. Be it resolved that council proceed in camera. Closed session pursuant to section 239(2)(e) of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended at 9:36 p.m. in order to address the following. Item number 14.2, Mattawa landfill update under litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board. Questions, comments? Okay, I'm gonna call for a vote. Councillor Mick
Yes.
and call all in favor? Carry. Okay, I have a motion moved by Councillor Levite, seconded by Councillor Tiber. Be it resolved that the regular meeting reconvene at 9:52 PM. We went into a closed meeting to discuss the Mattawa landfill update concerning arbitration versus Papineau Cameron Township. And there is a motion resulting from the closed meeting session. And I'm looking for a mover and a seconder.
Sorry, Mayor, but you actually need to vote on this resolution first.
Sorry,
That's okay.
too late, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so call for a vote. All in favor? Carried. Do I have to restate what I said, or is that
No,
good enough? Okay, thank you.
No.
All right, so mover and seconder was over here. Okay, moved by Councillor Ross, seconded by Councillor Bigelow. Whereas the firm of Davis Washburn Law has indicated that they can no longer serve the town in the landfill litigation matter with the township of Papineau Cameron. Be it resolved that council of the town of Mattawa authorize the CAO treasurer to retain the services of Spedifori Johnson Lepore LLP to represent the town in this matter. Questions? Comments? Okay, I'm gonna request a recorded vote on this one. No comments, no questions?
Mayor Blanche,
Yes.
Councillor Bigelow,
Yes.
Councillor Ross.
Yes.
Councillor Tiber,
Yes.
Councillor Levesque,
Yes.
and Councillor Gardner.
Yes.
Motion is carried unanimously.
That's on, okay. Yeah, I need a seconder. Okay, moved by Councillor Gardner, seconded by Councillor Levesque, be it resolved that the regular meeting adjourned at 9:54 PM. Questions, comments? All in favor? Carried.
Thank you, gentlemen and ladies.